podcast caught in the fire of revolution.
So that's the part. That's the.
I've been going tagline heavy on this series mostly, not because I'm trying to avoid doing an Australian accent. I could nail it if I wanted to.
You ever done an Australian accent?
I haven't. I'm told that the secret is really. Royally.
I feel like the one that's gotten really big when I see people doing like Australian accent Instagrams is no. No. We're doing it terribly.
Yeah, we're
but that there's a no with an R. We've been really upsetting the entire continent this entire series. Just so you know what you're walking into, Tracy.
Luckily, this movie isn't set in Australia, but we have been, our knowledge gaps about Australian history and culture have been exposed a little bit.
Look,
I've heard some of this, some of your Australian prejudice. I mean, let's
because I admitted to it because I grew up in Britain.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so you've heard,
right.
Yeah. I'm copying to it,
And we thought it was a positive stereotype to assume that upon meeting, every Australian takes out a knife and compares whose knife is bigger than the others. Right. We did not think that was offensive.
Have you ever been to Australia?
I have. You know what? This has not come up much in this series.
You've been multiple times or just the one time?
I've been 2 times.
Right. Both for work.
Once for fun. I had a good friend growing up whose family relocated to Australia. And I went to visit him when I was a teenager, and then I went for work. I was on a TV show, which no one should ever make. I feel like you have some similar experiences or similar opinions on the process of making a TV show, which is fairly brutal.
I don't know. It depends on the show, I suppose.
You're right.
What show were you on?
It's called The Tick. It was a superhero parody. And we had an extended press tour that ended in Australia.
Oh, wow.
And they were like...
They took you to Australia?
They took me to Australia. And it was a thing where the cast... It was an international press tour. And every time we jumped a continent or a country, someone would drop off and be like, either we're cutting the budget, we're reducing the cast, or I'm not available for another week of this. And so it got down to Australia and it was just me and the creator of the show. And they were like, and you're down to do the Australia stop, right? We'll fly you in. It's just 36 hours and we'll fly you back. And I was like, I'm not going to Australia unless you give me 5 days in a hotel. It was one of my only flexes ever.
Were you in Sydney?
I was in Sydney proper, but then did some driving around. Not me. People drove me around.
Yeah, he can't drive.
I can't drive. I'm afraid of cars.
Have you been to Australia, David?
Never been. Would love to go, in theory.
Have you been?
I have been 3 times.
Sure.
I went once. Somebody was doing my play Killer Joe at an independent production, and so I went for that, do some press for that. My play, August Osage County, was done at the National Theater when Kate Blanchett and her husband were running the National Theater. So we took our production to the National Theater.
Same cast? The whole show went.
Took our group down there. And then the 3rd time, was when Carrie was shooting The Leftovers. They shot season 3.
There were only 3 seasons.
They shot season 3 in Melbourne. So I have a brother in Singapore. We visited him in Singapore, got terrible food poisoning, then went to Melbourne, and we got there earlier than she was supposed to start work. But we were there at the same time the Melbourne International Film Festival was going on.
A very good festival.
Yeah. MILF. MILF. And we just became festival goers. We got passes and just went to all the movies. It was a great way to learn the city and learn the trains and stuff. And we had a great time in MILF.
MILF sounds like a real filth festival I'd like to frequent. The thing you are teeing me up for here unknowingly, Tracy, which I somehow have not brought up at all this series, is my brother, James Newman, boarded a plane on New Year's Eve 2025 and January 1st landed in Sydney, Australia, where he now works full-time as the general manager of the Sydney basketball team.
I feel like you have brought this up.
I think I haven't within this series. I can't remember because of recording order.
Right.
But my brother is now an Australian resident, or he at least has a work visa.
What does he do for the basketball
team?
He is
the general manager.
The GM of the Sydney
men's and women's teams in Sydney, Australia. We are very different people, but I love him very much and I'm very proud.
They're a very healthy people, the Australians, regardless of their physical attractiveness. They're always running and jumping in front of you. There's a lot of running and jumping and biking and
positive stereotypes.
Yeah,
They're all fit.
He was calling me and saying like, you're the only person I know who's visited. Like, and I know you've only gone like, short trips and work stuff and whatever, but what's your takeaway? And I'm just like, the quality of life there seems unbelievable. And on average, not to stereotype positively, people seem happy.
They do.
It is like one of the least tense major cities I have ever visited.
There's a lot of running. There's a lot of jumping. There's every animal can kill you.
Yes,
everything,
right.
every spider,
around every
snake,
corner is a scorpion.
Yeah,
right.
they're
just like running a restaurant.
We're out of antitoxins, so be careful when you're.
Don't you dare bring in a green bean because they'll yell at you. But
that's why it helps to have a basketball in Sydney, though. You can just dribble those motherfuckers on the ground.
I mean, I have a friend who's from Brazil, and I was talking to her about like the stereotype, that she, the cute stereotype, like, right, we're always just all on the beach all the time, just dashing into the water. That's how I feel like about Australians too. I know it's not true, but that they're all just running up and down the beach and jumping in the water and I'm firing up the barbecue.
I mean, I'm almost definitely going to visit this year, and for the foreseeable future, Sydney is probably a place I go to more than most places. I mean, it's obviously a big commitment trip, but like if he keeps working there, I'm gonna
good food. Surprisingly good food.
Seafood, right? They got all that.
Seafood and some Asian influence, some spice in the food. It's good.
David, you held up one finger.
Well, it's funny, just because we're talking about a film that was largely filmed in the Philippines.
Yes.
Although they did shoot some in Australia.
It was
Year of Living
basically an Australian production. He treats Witness as his first Hollywood film, even though a Hollywood studio came in and rescued this movie at the last moment before production started. But we're also talking about an Australian filmmaker.
Yep.
One of the canonical Australian filmmakers.
And this is his departure from Australian film.
This is really the fulcrum point.
Right.
Yes. And we've been nailing all discussions of Australia up until this point, and it is continuing on this episode.
Should we take a moment to pat ourselves on the back for how good of a job we've been doing?
Yeah. Ben, can you cut in like the loudest thumping sound of all time? Or maybe toilet flushings again.
What's this miniseries called?
This is Blank Check with Griffin and David. I'm Griffin.
I'm David.
It's a podcast about filmographies, directors who have massive success early on in their careers, such as basically leading the Australian New Wave, being certainly one of the leaders.
Vanguard, certainly.
I'm already throwing a flag on this.
Yeah, that's
really?
fine.
Yeah, he was not a massive success.
Well, you don't think he got there?
Well, he got there, yeah, but the way you describe the ethos of Blank Check makes it sound like he had a massive success and now he's
Tracy, look, our ethos has suffered. It's 12 years into this show. We're a little bit out of those guys. Not completely out.
Some of those guys were saving.
Some of those guys were saving. Mostly we want to discuss interesting filmmakers. And Weir, he doesn't quite, I mean, what's his most runaway success?
Truman Show.
Truman Show.
I'd say
sure,
Witness
right.
is his guarantor. It happens right after this.
Witness is the breakout, right?
Yes. The guarantor is what we call
the
hit that convinces them to hand you the blank checkbook. And then I think he is a bit of a blank check filmmaker. I do think his studio run, even though to a certain degree he was a hired hand, Green Card obviously more his personal passion project.
Right. Look, the thing is, Tracy, if we had a director on and we said, we think that Hollywood gave you a blank check, they would be like,
shoot us in the face.
Do you know how hard it is?
Yeah.
Even guys we've talked about, like Nolan or M. Night Shyamalan, who really did get, a lot of power.
And M. Night Shyamalan,
this is still very hard.
M. Night Shyamalan now literally funds his own movies and would be like, there is no such thing as a blank check.
Right.
But George Lucas,
he's the closest. He's the model. He's the original.
And you love him in his films.
Sure.
Especially the later ones.
Right here. He's got Watto.
Look, this is a massive success early on in their careers. Are given a series of blank checks, make whatever crazy passion projects they want, and sometimes those checks clear, and sometimes they bounce. Baby, this is a miniseries on the films of Peter Weir. Is called Podnik at Hanging Cast.
That's right.
Which I approve of.
Thank you.
Okay, so then I give up.
Because what was the other one?
Podster and Castmander, the pod side of the cast.
Whoa, really fucking bad.
Okay. I you know what? I can't fight that. This is a man of letters here.
Exactly.
This is a fucking Pulitzer Prize winner. I'm not going to argue my writing's better. It's Podnik at Hanging Cast. You will hear no further gripes from me.
Who did Gallipoli? But it will have already aired by now, so
yes,
you can say, right?
Jennifer Kent, the wonderful filmmaker Jennifer Kent, who made The Babadook and the film Nightingale.
Yes.
We wanted an Australian filmmaker, especially for Gallipoli.
Yes,
which is very
we tried for several. What's tough is that they live 8 trillion hours away.
Right. Yeah. We did it. It was like 9 p.m. our time, and Correct. It was like the next morning her time.
Yes.
She was
on Zoom.
We were taking NyQuil and she was drinking coffee.
Right, but she rocked. She's great.
Awesome.
Do you like Gallipoli?
Very much.
Gallipoli, I think, is very, very phenomenal. Had never seen that before. Had never seen this one before. Both of the Mel Gibson films were blind spots for me.
I do have holes in my Peter Weir
What
filmography.
Are your holes? I mean, sorry, bit of a aggressive question there.
Who are your holes?
Master and Commander.
You've never seen Master?
I haven't seen Master and Commander.
Interesting.
As I learn more about you, you've been on our friend Sean's show. Obviously,
I'm third chair on the big picture.
Okay,
let's just say I'm third chair.
We should let's introduce with proper titles here.
Okay,
Not only is he third chair on the big picture, not as only is he a Pulitzer Prize winner in drama.
Yes, this is true.
Tony Award winner as well, as both writer and actor. Correct.
Gotta flex it.
But most importantly, he is the king of physical media.
I also at one point called him a bad bitch on this podcast.
Excuse me. I
didn't hear that.
I believe we called him the boss bitch.
Maybe a boss bitch.
In our awards show episodes we do annually, I nominated you Best Supporting Actor for Indignation. And I believe David responded, Tracy Letts, the boss bitch.
Because you'd had a really good year.
It was a good year.
You'd been in a lot of stuff that's when you're in like Christine and like Wiener Dog and The Lovers. I don't know. It was like very, very sort of exciting.
It's when you meet Hitmaker and he gives you the secrets. He's like, here's how you make a hit.
Wait, when did he meet? What did they work
on?
Christine. Right. Yeah. Of course.
And he was like, the women have to be little and it will go over $100 million. And you run to Greta Gerwig. I'm holding the hot hand. Tracy Letts is here in the studio.
Thank you very much for having me,
Tracy. Thank you.
On the blank check.
Now you're saying that you've never seen Master and Commander before. I was happy that this is the series that you came on for. It is one of our great joys in life for David and I. When we pick a new director, we put him on the schedule, we immediately crack our knuckles, pull up BluRay.com and go, what do I already have? And what are the holes I have to fill? And then what's the best addition? And it used to be, oh, no domestic release of this. Too bad, I'm not going to have it. I've started being a no matter what, by any means possible, I'm getting all of them. And this is a varied stack here. We got Les Voitures où on mange Paris.
Right.
This is a French copy of The Cars That Ate Paris. Who's even the distributor here? Esque Editions.
Yeah.
EFI about to reissue this in 4K.
Yeah.
Got this fucking Mondo Second Sight Picnic at Hanging Rock box.
I got that.
That's very nice.
It's a good box.
I just have the Criterion of that, but there's a very
that only has the director's cut and this is theatrical plus
Fair
the
enough.
book. You get it's kind of like a better edition.
I got them both.
I tried to I used this specifically to try to convince Amanda that physical media isn't ugly. I was trying to combat your I live in a GameStop thing by being like, but look, this is nice. And
no, there are nice ones.
There are nice ones.
But sometimes are you a little skeptical of the really nice ones?
Sure. I mean, I have giant boxes
Right.
of movies that
For like freaking Congo. I mean, maybe Congo's rude because I know. The boxes are great, but then you're like, inside is William Friedkin's, Jade, like, which is a movie I like, but doesn't belong in this finery.
I just bought the Umbrella 4K of the live action Super Mario Brothers, which I think is $100 and contains more literature than like the Encyclopedia Britannica.
A film that
it has 4 separate books.
A film that I enjoyed, but like that most people involved with are like a stain on my reputation.
It is objectively dog shit. And I want to be clear, I love that film. It is objectively dog shit, and it comes with a book that includes 2 different scripts, 2 rejected scripts for that movie, and that's one of only 3 books included in that box. Last Wave from the aforementioned Umbrella, the fine folks.
Yep, I got that.
We got Gallipoli, has just a Paramount, a pretty basic blue that only came out recently. I'm glad they finally put it out.
I've got Gallipoli, but I'm going to look at my
Okay,
phone,
I wonder if I'm wrong and this was just a reissue.
What do you use
This has a 2023
I use something called CLZ.
I use that too.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, very fond of that.
Let's see. Gallipoli. How do we spell that? GALL.
IP.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. From a place you've never heard of comes a story you'll never forget. We both agreed in this episode, kind of a rude tagline.
Yeah, a bit.
But then I saw you on your letterbox log where people were getting excited. Oh, fuck, is Tracy Letts doing Year of Living Dangerously?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize
No.
when I logged it
That's
that
the
people
fun
would
of the sport.
Oh, no,
figure it
it's
out.
good.
Yeah.
It's good. We like that.
But you
Builds up
were
anticipation.
posting in anger
Yeah.
that you had to watch it on YouTube Premium because it was the only better option than the DVD you had.
The DVD, I actually played them side by side.
You're aware of this.
What is that?
This is a Spanish Blu-ray. I've been a little suspicious that it's a bootleg, but it seems like it's not.
Have you watched it?
Yeah. It looks okay.
Well, there's the whole thing
I would not say it is reference quality.
No.
Right.
It looks like probably YouTube Premium just on a disc.
Why isn't this movie
I
out?
don't fucking
Why
know.
do I have a fucking box for Congo on
Yep,
my shelf
yep.
and
That's
not
what
the
I'm
Year of
saying.
Living
This is what
Dangerous?
I'm-
This is
It's a little
Underground
bit-
Pictures. They put this out. What's the copyright here for the disc release? I'll figure it out.
I mean,
but
look-
this is 2014.
I feel like often with
This
these
is the only country in which any Blu-ray release of this movie has happened. It was 12 years ago.
these MGM United artists, like, you know, that sort of tricky period for this, right? Like the
Mhm.
rights will get weird, right? That's
Sure.
always, isn't that always the answer? It's like no one can untangle.
Sometimes I also want to, like, we'll get into this, but I wonder if there's a feeling of touchiness around this movie
Sure,
of if
possibly.
we restore this too thoroughly and
But-
spotlight it too much, are people going to get up in
But
arms?
William Friedkin's Jane, they're not touchy about Jade. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not- you know, like there's other movies that get put
Well, that's
out.
a touchy movie. That's a movie
That's
people
what I'm saying.
touching each other the whole time.
Urso's grabbing everyone.
And I got the rest of I got the Arrow Witness. I got the Dead Poets, the basic Disney release, Green Card
I don't
Kino.
own Dead Poets.
Do you not like it?
Yeah.
Sims
Not
is on the same
I'm-
page.
it's my
you.
least favorite Weird film.
Yeah, I think mine too.
Fearless, I think, is a Warner Archive. Truman,
I've got
basic, Paramount 4K. Master and Commander got the Steelbook, but I assume you don't have that
I
yet.
have it. I just
you
haven't
blind
watched
bought
it.
it.
Yeah,
Interesting. And then Way Back's an Image release. So
I have that as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the way back.
Do you like Brit shit? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so like did Master and Commander kind of pass you by just because it was like sort of a big blockbuster at the time and you were like, like how did it pass you by? I wonder.
Based on those books, right?
Mhm.
I have I've never had
No
any
grounding in the
relationship to
books,
those
right.
books. I don't go out to see a movie just because Russell Crowe's in it. I don't
Mhm.
not see a movie because Russell Crowe's
Sure,
in it, but
sure.
I don't
But
see
he's
it
not-
because
he's not an
in it.
automatic
Do you
guy
go
for
out
you.
to see?
Yeah, exactly. What about the sea? You know, the shining
Are you
sea.
a
Well,
boat
the
guy?
sea, yeah.
Not,
Is this the Midwesterner in you? You're like oceans. They're thousands of miles away.
I have no good reason for not
Fair
having
enough.
seen Master and Commander.
Fair
Maybe
enough.
I'll go home and watch it tonight.
It's the best. It's so good.
It's one of David's favorite movies. I have not rewatched it since I saw it in theaters. We have not done that episode yet.
Can you say what your favorite Weir is?
That one is certainly my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite is.
But I love a lot of his films.
Huh?
Yeah, what's your number one, bud?
Is it Truman Show? That
might
feels
be.
kind of lame, but
That's
it
fine.
feels like that might be my answer.
What's your favorite? Is it this?
It's Year of Living Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes, right. I mean, we talked to you when we were planning this series, being like, Peter Weir, does he spark interest? And Year of Living Dangerously was your, you know,
I believe you
Your
said it's one of my
immediate answer.
50 favorite movies of all time.
You know, I made a list recently of my favorite movies.
This
It
is
was
what
going
I
to
was
be
gonna
my
ask
top
you.
100 list,
Yeah.
and it turned out to be about 160 something
Is
on
it
my list.
ranked or is it
Not ranked,
okay? Just what's
Just
in the pot.
chronological order. And Year of Living Dangerously is on that list.
So it's basically at this point, it's like this is the canon. These are the movies.
you were just sort of going through everything you've
Yeah.
seen, being like,
These
what
are
would be a
my
top
favorites.
What
These are
punches
the
above?
things I will watch
Right.
again that I know and love.
Now you might have sensed David and I both trying to sniff out some of your movie blind spots, right? What don't you like as much? What haven't you seen and for what reasons? It's because we came into this loaded with a challenge. Ben, producer Ben, who is not a physical media guy, I've gifted him a couple discs over the year, but this is not his beat. When we lock down a day and a time to
Well,
record
I guess
with you,
I should say I have vinyl. I have a big
You're a
vinyl
big vinyl
collection.
guy.
I
Yeah.
love music,
Yeah.
but as far as
discs.
movies, I only really have a handful.
Yeah. And he says, you know what would be fun if we tried to gift Tracy with a disc that he doesn't already have. And I said, Ben, you don't understand the scale of the challenge you just proposed. That's impossible. And then the more we got into talking to him about how hard that would be, the more we were like, wait a second, you should try. You should try, Ben. You should see if you can pick out a movie he hasn't seen and or placed in his collection. And then he bought 3, and it sparked a competition in David and I. And we have also each bought 3 movies for you.
Wow.
And this is the Tracy Letts Challenge. There are 9 discs that are about to be presented.
Oh, fantastic.
And we want to know, are any of these not already in the collection?
Oh, great.
Ben, I feel like you should go first since you spurred this whole thing.
So I want to shout out, we went to Night Owl Video. You ever been there? It's in Williamsburg.
Great place.
No.
Lovely little place. Yeah.
Nice.
It's about a year old. It's finally bringing physical media stores back to New York City.
Shout out to Night Owl Video.
Yeah.
They got a very nice used collection, and all the new stuff, obviously. And their motto is "Death to Streamers, Physical Media Forever." So they're definitely going for it.
I was trying to give Ben some help in strategizing. He also went with our friend Ben David Grabinski, past and future guest, who was sort of guiding Ben through the understanding of certain labels have subscription programs. Tracy might be pre-buying a full year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He had mentioned you're a subscriber to Vinegar Syndrome.
Right.
So I avoided those releases.
And we're looking for, you want rigorous honesty.
Rigorous honesty.
Please.
Okay.
Complete honesty.
Absolutely.
Because you have about what?
20,000?
No.
No, that's crazy.
11,000 plus.
Still a lot.
But I appreciate you throwing out the number 20,000. It makes it seem reasonable.
Well, then we're 20,000. We're sort of starting to approach like the amount of movies that might exist.
This is why the challenge is fun.
Right. But you buy a lot of stuff and kind of are like, I'll get to it, or I have a completionist urge, or whatever.
I've seen perhaps 30% of the movies on my show.
Right. Because I'm currently in this project of like, I gotta fucking watch everything I own on disc that I've either never seen.
How many
or do
discs
not remember.
do you have?
I have over 1,000, I think. I'm nothing like you, but I have a lot.
I think I'm similar now.
And my wife is, it goes in one room. And so it's a little mysterious what's going on, I think, to her. But like, then she'll glimpse like, and I'm like, no,
And
don't worry about it.
you live in Brooklyn?
I live in Brooklyn.
So your space is somewhat
limited. There's going to have to be, there's some shelving conversations I'm going to need to have
that
soon.
need to be made.
See, we bought this house and it had a basement in it that looked like a Marriott ballroom. And it's just like, oh, well, this is where we can put everything.
I mean, I'm very jealous.
Tracy, I need you to know that I now often repeat the phrase, all I want is the type of success where I can have a Tracy Letts basement. It has become basically the driving force of any professional ambitions I have, is if I can just get a Tracy Letts basement. Imagine having a home where there was space for all of my sickness. Is the way I think about it.
And you can pass your sickness on to your family.
Well, that's
members.
the real dream. Yeah.
All right.
Well, and so I want to preface as well, as far as curation, you saw my porch.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind as a kind of lens.
These are kind of 3 porch movies. If this helps you understand the kind of subgenre of porch movie.
So, of course, first here I have a limited edition steelbook of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
I do not own this film.
You do not own this film. Have you seen it before?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're in store for a good time.
Oh, great.
How do you feel about James Carey?
Funny.
Funny.
Well, then he probably will at least get a couple laughs out of Ace
funny.
Ventura.
I mean, obviously not so funny that I've ever sought out Ace Ventura, which I think would be one of the touchstone films in his.
It's his launch pad,
right.
obviously.
I will say this was part of my strategy, was thinking the 90s might have been the era where you were dismissing certain commercial films.
Definitely. It started in the 80s, but certainly extended well into the 90s. We'll get more into the 80s, 90s discussion.
Great.
I will say that I just worked with Peter Farrelly. I shot a movie with him called I Play Rocky, which is coming out later this year. And at one point, I got a note from him to take it down. And I said, wow, the director of Dumb and Dumber just told me I was a little too broad.
That's incredible.
In a movie about making Rocky.
Who do you play in I Play Rocky?
I play a fictional bad guy.
You'll never make this movie.
I
Boxing movies don't amount to shit.
I'll tell you, Rocky will never win Best Picture.
You might have actually quoted a few of my lines.
Do you like to get that call? Because like Ford vs. Ferrari, great movie, and you're very, very good in it. But like where it's like, oh, fun racing. Well, no, you're the guy who shits on everyone in the office.
I think this movie sucks. I wish this movie weren't happening. Right. But then what's great about Ford versus Ferrari is you get the scene of the emotional breakdown. It's the best version of that character.
I turn down a lot of those things unless it's got that extra thing in it that I go, oh, this is good. I want to do that extra thing.
Yeah.
And so I Play Rocky has that.
No, I'm excited for I Play Rocky. I am a sucker for that kind of movie. I like
Early Word is good. I'm excited about it.
Do you know that the young actor playing Sylvester Stallone in the movie is the same young actor who played Al Pacino in The Offer? One of my obsessions of the last decade.
I have not seen it, but he's very good.
I almost bought you The Offer on DVD, and then I was like, it's TV and it's DVD. This is offensive. This is rude. But The Offer is one of the more bizarre things ever made.
Thank you for the Ace Ventura. I will gladly accept it.
Wait, what
and
else
it's one of one right now. 1 out of 1.
And so I should mention that was a shout release. Next we have, this is Arrow Video. It is a 4K of Spawn.
I do not own that.
Wow.
That doesn't shock me at all.
Have you ever seen Spawn?
I have not.
Mark A.Z. DePay's Spawn.
Are you familiar with the character?
Is he a vampire or a vampire hunter?
Oh, Tracy, you have
from
such an
hell.
education
He's
ahead of
a
you.
more demonic.
Hell Spawn.
Yeah. He's a former
like a wet
soldier
works guy?
Yeah, he dies, he goes to hell, and Satan is sort of like, I'll let you go back to Earth, but you do have to be kind of like a hellish superhero.
Right.
Was
He
he
wants
originally a comic book?
Correct.
Yeah, it's comic book.
Todd McFarlane, T-Dog Mac.
90s, very 90s. A
Very
highly
90s.
90s.
A lot of
comic book.
chains.
And who directed the film?
Mark A.Z. DePay, who's a legendary special effects artist. He's widely credited as being one of the 2 guys who really cracked CGI for Jurassic Park. And they were like, well, that means you should make a whole movie. And he did this, and I believe he never directed a live-action film ever again. He directs direct-to-video Garfield sequels now.
Yeah.
Ben, you're 2 for 2, man.
Wow. I'm thrilled.
By the way, this has theatrical and director's cut on it. I recommend directors.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And there's some really great special effects. And that's all I'm going to say. Okay.
Roger Ebert gave this movie 3 stars.
He did.
And then here, lastly, we have Trash Humpers by Harmony Korine.
I do not own Trash Humper.
Wow. I knew that was going to be okay. I believe.
That was the one that was borderline. Harmony Korine doesn't feel like quite your taste zone, but I've also
got a couple of Harmony Korine on the shelf.
Cool.
So I'm glad to have Trash Humpers on disc.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his work, and I can't believe 3 for 3.
Well done, man.
Incredible.
Well done.
David, would you like to go next?
Sure, why not? All right. Okay, first off, this is the most obvious one. You might have this one. This is Arrow's, 4K release of Dominic Senna's film Swordfish.
Okay, he's checking
his database here, which is what I thought. I doubt you've seen Swordfish.
I have seen it.
All right, you've seen it. Okay, so I was wrong. But one of those where I was like, did you buy it just because there's a nice new edition out of a sense of completionism?
I do not own
Okay,
Swordfish.
okay.
Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, of course, John Travolta.
Don Cheadle.
Yeah, Don Cheadle. A role that you would play now in this movie, where it made today, is Sam Shepard's role as the U.S. Senator who's sort of like, stop. Yay, Travolta, you got to cut out your whatever it is you do.
I don't like these computers.
You're right. And Travolta's like, oh, it's interesting, and shoots him to death in like Utah or some extravagant location.
Just to make sure I'm thinking of the right film, Halle Berry nude scene.
Correct.
Very famously,
Yeah,
they leaked this. A terrible leak came out from the studio of like, oh, she's filming a nude scene. An extra scene has leaked. Oh, who could have spilled this info?
There was also a moment.
Clearly, someone sent them a long range tracking report, and they were like, "Can we leak the? Can we pay Halle Berry another $1 million?"
There's a moment in the trailer of her undressing, and I remember being surrounded by teenage boys. Being a teenage boy at the time, people being like, I hear she keeps taking clothes off. Like the buzz was really strong.
It's a scene in the film, her nude scene, that I would say doesn't feel entirely dramatically essential to the. But
she's sunbathing, and then she just drops the cover, shows her breast
I
clear
have seen the movie
for about 60 seconds, and then
honestly,
just puts it back.
The nude scene is what it's sort of known for. I think this is a crazy text. Like, this is a bizarre, like when Hollywood was sort of like, we should be doing like cyberpunk Tarantino movies, and then like 1 year later they were like, enough of that. Like, we got to stop.
Who directed Swordfish?
Dominic Senna, who also made Gone in 60 Seconds remake.
Yeah.
He did.
He was a Fincher guy. He was one of the Fincher stable.
I always get Senna and Simon West confused.
Right.
in
Well, they were
terms of
both
the
Fincher
filmographies.
guys.
They're both, yeah.
He did that kind of nasty Brad Pitt movie, California, if you remember that, like a serial killer movie.
Yep.
He was, all sizzle.
No steak?
Medium to small steak.
You guys are 4 for 4.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see what.
Oh, he did Season of the Witch, which I love. Have you ever seen Season of the Witch?
I have.
Great movie. One of our finest.
All right. Next up, this is a strange one. This is a DVD. Used DVD.
Wow,
I was really trying to get weird. Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski's Screwed.
No,
He's checking the database.
No.
Now, this is Griffin.
Yeah.
An exceptionally strange movie.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I believe it has never been released on high
don't
def.
own it.
Wow.
Don't own it.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
It looks light to medium use here. We got some crinkling on this. So I'm sorry to give you this. Okay, good.
It is an odd kind of blank check movie because they had such success as screenwriters that people went, we should let these guys make a whole film. And it was trying to launch arguably 3 comedy stars at the same time.
Well, it's trying to launch, it's sort of trying with Norm MacDonald around the Dirty Work era, right? Like, or a little after.
I think it's almost contemporaneous.
And then Dave Chappelle, it's sort of half-baked era.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle. I'm talking, and I mean, who's
I was
the
arguing
third?
Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, sure. Sure, she's in there.
But Larry doesn't disown this movie, right? I mean, Larry, he's fond of...
I think they're both... It was one of those movies they had no idea how to market. It has one of the weirdest trailers. They clearly just have no idea what to tell you about this movie.
It is so odd.
Because it's quite odd and kind of vulgar.
I was going to say it's in this category I would classify as like big budget studio versions of John Waters material. You know, and I think it's a little post like Something About Mary. People want gross out. It is very dark. It's very odd.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. 5 for 5.
DeVito is great in it.
Doing great. Finally, Crank High Voltage.
I've not seen Crank High Voltage.
Have you seen Crank?
I haven't seen Crank. I've actually been on a bit of a Statham tear recently.
And you hadn't gotten to it yet.
I've not gotten to it yet.
Both vital. I'm sorry that I went for High Voltage here because the completionist in you now means you'll probably end up buying Crank as well. This is the sequel, Crank High Voltage.
Is Joan Allen in one of these movies?
Joan Allen
is
in
Death Race movie.
A movie I really fight for. She plays I was going to say she plays the Tracy Letts, I don't want you doing Death Race. It is the opposite. She is the evil prison warden. Right. And she's like, you motherfuckers better Death Race. And there's a bit in that movie that I love where Joan Allen goes on like a 30-second tear and says every American curse word 6 times.
Nice.
Because she's angry at how Statham is breaking her system.
For a while, my treadmill watches were TV shows, keeping up with the TV shows, but it just became too painful. And so what I've been doing...
Because you're going to fall asleep watching these shows in 10 episodes before they do any plot.
Right. It wasn't an enticement to get back on the treadmill. Right. So I've been catching up on a lot of action.
Like trashy action.
From 90s, 2000s action. Like I've watched the Equalizer series.
I saw you log those.
Yeah, extremely good.
Tracy,
extremely solid.
I had considered buying you the Equalizer trilogy, so I did some cross-referencing. We were just talking about those movies. I love them so much. They make me so happy.
Just to pitch you on Crank. The first Crank, the idea is it's speed, but with his heart, so he has to keep his heart rate above a certain. In Crank High Voltage, I believe he's been given an artificial heart. So he has to literally like grab onto
use electricity,
electric cords and bite them to just
wait, really?
Yeah.
The first
that sounds fun.
Ends with him dying.
Right.
And it was enough of a hit that justified the sequel. Well, what if they put an electric heart in him? But it resulted in one of the greatest taglines of all time, which is he was dead, but he got a lot better.
Yeah, he got better.
Mr. Statham never made a movie that he couldn't find his way to make a sequel.
Absolutely.
To.
That's so true.
All doors are open in the world of Jason Statham.
I like this era of his better, which was more martial artsy, versus this new one where it's like, he's a gentle gardener, but he used to. And then like some nice old lady dies and he has to go kill Hillary Clinton or whatever.
Yes, but Beekeeper is incredible.
Beekeeper.
Have you seen Beekeeper?
I have seen Beekeeper.
Beekeeper is just so insane. In the world it establishes.
I forget which Crank it is. One of the Cranks has one of my favorite gags, which is Japanese guys talking to him and you see the subtitles and Statham is so out of it that you then cut to a reverse of Statham looking at the subtitles. Like the shot is reversed going like, huh?
Neville Dean and Taylor.
All right. So I got 3 for 3 too.
6 for 6.
Okay. Wow. I took a very specific strategy. I was like, I feel like the 90s are the zone where you were maybe not keeping up as omnivorously with all of commercial cinema.
I think that's true.
And B, also, you talk about on your physical media episodes, so Big Picture, the things you were watching with your children. And I was sort of trying to triangulate your children's tastes, where things are going. And I'm like, are there movies that I grew up with that you would not have seen at the time, but that might be good to introduce your children to. They can come griff stamped.
Oh, this is a great idea.
They can
All
also
of this
swerve.
maybe it knocks these discs a little higher up on the watch list because there's a little bit of an activity here. Okay. So first of all, Joe Dante's 1998 picture, Small Soldiers. Have you seen it?
I have not seen Small Soldiers.
And I assume that means you don't own it?
I do not own, nor have I seen Joe Dante. I didn't even know it was a Joe Dante movie.
You're making a Sherman-esque statement.
Tracy, that's exactly what I was betting on. Because I bet Tracy has respect for Joe Dante.
Sure.
But he lost track of the last couple.
I did. I did not know that was his film.
This is an incredible film about the military-industrial complex, about the corporatization of America.
Is that a person on the cover?
So it is about a tech company, a military tech company that buys a toy company, and they're endless sort of gobbling up conglomeration of everything, and decide to try to make, this film's very relevant now, basically AI toys. What if G.I. Joes could actually do shit? And they put military microchips in them, and they start literally waging war on our backyards and our doorsteps.
But are there people in the film?
Yes, there are. It's not an animated film. It's a live action film.
Right.
This is Major Chip Hazard, who is the main villain toy, voiced by Tommy Lee Jones, and Frank Langella, Archer, leader of the Gorgonites. But this film stars Kirsten Dunst, Gregory Smith.
Great Kevin Dunn.
Phil Hartman's final film performance. Yes. Dennis Leary, David Cross.
It's got a lot of
Ann Magnuson. It's got a really good cast. Jay Moore, of course. It was that era where we were trying to make that happen. But it's a wonderful film. I think it's a razor sharp satire.
You guys are
very funny.
You guys are killing it.
Big action.
I'm going to show that to my son.
Yeah, I think he will like it. I know he's very into kaiju film. I know it is not a kaiju
small,
film.
Not big. Right.
There's a similar energy of chaos.
Creature feature-y kind of.
He likes the first question is always, is there a creature in it?
It is mostly very small animatronic puppets, of monsters fighting army men.
Got it.
And humans being like, the fuck is going on? One of the best films of 1998. Similarly, this was DreamWorks when DreamWorks was launching, and Spielberg was like, we need a family slate. We need Amblin-esque pictures. And he greenlit odd versions of Amblin-esque pictures that didn't quite perform as well as they should have at the time. Gore Verbinski's Mouse Hunt, his first film.
I do not own Mouse Hunt, nor have I ever seen it.
Wow, you'll like that.
This is quietly one of the best film craft films of the 90s.
Yeah.
If this movie came out tomorrow, best cinematography, best art direction, best sound, best editing, people would be like, nothing has looked this good since the 50s.
Who directed Mouse Hunt?
Gore Verbinski.
Oh, you just said
it is his first film. It is him cashing in the heat of directing the Budweiser frog commercials. And it's a script that's just, these two guys are trying to catch a mouse. And he's like, what if it has the aesthetics of Delicatessen? He built an insane house. He insisted on doing almost all of it with real mice. They had like 60 mice who they trained as actors. It's Nathan Lane and Lee Evans.
Lee Evans.
But it's also, it's Christopher Walken's in it. Maury Shaken's in it.
Sure.
It's William Hickey's last performance ever.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful film. Saw it recently at Film Forum. They screened it. It's a beautiful 4K.
I tell you
this is reference quality.
If you score this last one, 9 for 9.
This is my biggest swing because this is more recent, but I had a feeling that you just kind of opted out on this whole series. It's an excellent adventure picture. It's a family story done in a style, I'd say almost heightened to melodrama, with the broad kind of allegorical storytelling of your biblical epics of yore. It is called Avatar: The Way of Water.
I've never seen Avatar: The Way of Water.
Did you blind buy it?
I did not blind buy it. I do not own it.
9 fresh discs. Now, did you see the first one?
Right. Did you see the first one?
I've never seen one of the Avatar.
This is my guess that you just went, not my thing, right?
I've not. I haven't seen it.
It's a rip-roaring adventure about how we have lost touch with nature.
So now I have to go buy the first one.
This is the problem. We're making homework for you here, buying these sequels.
It's a boy and a whale. The mighty Payakan, who you will be thrilled to meet.
How long is that movie?
Let's not talk about runtime. Runtime. What is a runtime?
Well, just in terms of showing it to my son, there are.
Your son will be into it, I would imagine.
Your son will be into it. It might be split over a couple nights. It's 192 minutes long. But
192 fucking minutes. It's longer than Lawrence of Arabia.
It's similar to Lawrence of
Might be
Arabia.
longer than Lawrence of Arabia. But has your son seen Lawrence of Arabia?
That's a
he
good
is not.
question.
Actually, you know what? Lawrence of Arabia is longer.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia is almost 4 hours long.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's really, really long.
This is 4 discs. So after you watch the movie, you can go into the making of.
You know, recently, Sean and Amanda on the Big Picture podcast were talking about how even if you're not into it, it's undeniable that the specialness of the special effects are in fact kind of jaw-dropping and beyond what you're accustomed to seeing when you watch a lot of AI slop.
I would agree.
Or CGI slop.
It is very much, yes. It stands in opposition to that. And we agree that it is the best of the 3.
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
I think the sequel is the best.
I do think you could watch it cold. It does a pretty good job of table setting at the beginning of the film. And there's such a big time jump between the first and the second that there is a bit of a clean entry point.
Now, I have to say, you guys have done absolutely beautiful work in collecting these 9 discs. I'm really impressed, and I'm really happy to have them in my collection. And I'm happy to give all of them a spin. All of them. Does anybody listening to this give a shit about
what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, very deeply. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
You go on Sean's podcast, which is bigger than this podcast, and you guys, speak at length on these matters.
I always assume that those episodes are just very niche, that there's just there's a small but dedicated number of people.
But this is a growing area of interest for people, I feel like. I do feel like there's this general person, there's just feeling amongst film fans of like, it's just not good out there anymore.
It's bad, and we need to take a stand, and we need to do something.
Right. It's so annoying sifting through these streaming services. It's so annoying kind of like trying to find the best version of it, and like it's so satisfying to own something. I don't know. I
can just hear a lot of pissed off film guys going, what do you mean he's never seen Ace Ventura? What? Who is this asshole?
This is the balance of these things.
Look,
people got to come to Blank Check and understand this is the flow. This is the natural order.
Have you ever had anybody on this show older than me?
Yes.
Your father.
My father. Are you willing to say your age on mic?
60.
Yeah. My father has been only on Patreon, but he is 73 now. He's 73. I believe Clint McElroy.
Oh, sure.
Right. Amy Irving.
The great Amy
She
Irving.
was only on Patreon, though. Colin Quinn, I believe. Do you know? I think Colin Quinn is older than you.
I would think.
I think
maybe
so.
A little.
Colin Quinn is 6 years older than you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go rub it in his face next time.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you get to retain the crown as king of physical media.
Let me tell you a few people who are older than me. I'll surprise you.
Yeah. We do. There's one last disc reveal.
Oh.
Yeah.
The remainder of the bag. You mentioned, of course, your physical media episodes on the Big Picture, which started out as just you and Sean, and then grew to include Chris Ryan and Tim Hitmaker Simons as well. There was one person who has been desperately trying to make his way onto the Physical Media High Council.
Well, I'll read this note he left. Mr. Letts, please accept this meager offering of physical media. Sorry, it's hard to read his handwriting. It's really chicken scratch here. Representing some of my movies, only 2 are reference quality. It's less about hoping you watch and enjoy and more the honor of contributing my work to the definitive archive. Alex Ross Perry.
Oh, Alex Ross Perry. How lovely. And what did he send?
He gave you 3 of his films, which is Her Smell, Pavements, and Listen Up, Philip.
Yes.
I own Listen Up, Philip.
You own Listen Up, Philip? This same the Eureka edition?
Yes.
Wow.
I own that.
Then I'll take that.
Wow. I mean, this is like an epic L for ARP that we went fucking 9 for 9 and ARP gets up to bat and immediately you fucking imported one of his movies.
Haven't watched it. I should watch it.
It's an excellent
I think
film.
you'd like it.
Incredible Jonathan
dig
Pryce
it.
performance. Yeah.
Yeah. Price is incredible in it. I don't know if I'm another, a theater legend in his own right, who also did Yellowface, which
I was going to say
is important to our discussion today of
Yes.
The Year of Living Dangerously.
By the way, the big picture has come up a couple of times here. They did a 1988 draft.
I'm in the middle of listening to it as we speak.
I was not invited. And I said to them, I'm going on Blank Check tomorrow.
Right.
And maybe if the Blank Check guys adopt me, we're all New Yorkers. We're New York based.
It's true.
I was like, maybe I wind up jumping ship. Yeah. And let me tell you, the text I got from Sean was pretty definitive.
If you even think,
you fucking rat,
for one fucking second, I was having a fun time listening to that. It's an interesting year, 88, and I respected Chris's bind there, Chris Ryan's bind of getting the number one pick, where it's like you're on the big picture. It's like you have to pick Die Hard. That's sort of like the and he lost Midnight Run, and I felt for him. His Midnight Run,
Well, I sent them immediately upon conclusion. I sent them a few movies they left off of the 1988 draft that I would have,
such as
gladly. Well, Thin Blue Line would be top of
great
definitive for me, and it was just like, how is this not? I mean,
would be a beautiful use of a wild card pick.
Yeah.
Did it get snubbed for best documentary?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It was
right.
He wasn't doing what that branch appreciated. Like he was doing something new. So they never liked him.
So you'd have to take it in wild card.
I think did he eventually win for Fog of War? Like I feel like they eventually gave Errol Morris an Oscar.
And then he also did the stuff for the Oscars.
He did. Those were fun. Yeah, he won for Fog of War though. That's his only ever Oscar nomination.
Wow.
Like they were they were always kind of like too snooty for him.
It's just one of the most incredible lasting cultural artifacts is from Errol Morris doing those that Oscar intro one year where he interviewed people about their favorite movies. We have the clip of Donald Trump looking into the Interrotron. Is that what he calls?
Interrotron, yeah.
Right. And talking about why he loves Citizen Kane and misreading it confidently.
Right.
It's a movie about a guy who gets everything.
In a big house.
I think he literally says it's a movie about a guy who gets everything.
That reminds me, I was at some party in Los Angeles, and David Zaslav. I was with Carrie and some of the other
favorite guy.
Gilded Age people.
And of course, Carrie's in the HBO family, of course.
Yes,
the queen of the HBO family.
She's on Gilded Age, and Zaslav came up, and he was so excited to see them. And we came to realize after a while, I was like, oh, the robber barons are his heroes.
Right.
Of course.
He's like, I love how you're ramming that railroad right across America.
Yep.
My favorite thing in the Gilded Age is anytime Morgan Spector's character is just like, I feel like I need to go, kill 10,000 railroad guys just to get my rocks off, just really got to like go fight with JP Morgan about something. I love the Gilded Age. Gilded Age is number one kind of show for me where I can Google after and and learn about the opera
David
war.
just said this in our Way Back episode with Alex Ross Perry.
Have you seen Peter Weir's The Way Back? One of his least seen films, his final film, the film about escapees from the Gulag who trekked across the Gobi Desert all the way to India.
I remember my mom watching it and saying, "This is really good. How come I didn't see this fucking movie?"
It was completely ignored on release. It's a fairly handsome, solid. It's not his best movie, but it's pretty good.
But David was saying he loves any watch that can cause him to open up some Wikipedia tabs and start digging
afterwards. I'm like, so Mongolia in the 50s, what was going on?
Yeah,
there? Like stuff like that.
I want to hear your other 1988 snubs.
Let me consult my technology.
I'm guessing Akira wasn't picked. I haven't finished the episode.
Akira was not picked. I'm
trying to think of definitive 88 movies that probably are too niche or whatever.
They keep complaining about how bad the sequel slate is.
It was very bad. And in fact, Amanda asked me specifically what my pick would have been.
It's really bad.
I suggested Lady Terminator, which is not actually canon.
Right.
Oh, that one's not canon?
You have Halloween 4, Hellraiser 2, Nightmare 4, but I'm just immediately here. No one...
It's not great.
Even with Thriller open, no one picked Child's Play and no one picked Dead Ringers?
Dead Ringers was definitely on my list.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned it in their honorable mentions, but not good enough. Another Woman, the Woody Allen movie, Another Woman, which,
that would have been a surprising pick.
It would have been, but because I listened to the New York draft.
Well, we had to dance between the raindrops on that one.
Didn't pick Woody Allen?
Did nobody pick Woody Allen?
No one picked Woody Allen. I want to make
Woody
it clear.
Allen's name was never said on the New York movie draft.
People were suspicious.
We are in front of a live audience.
We were in front of a live audience. Backstage, there wasn't like a blood pact. Like we all agree no one's going to utter his name. It did not happen.
No.
I think if we were not in front of a crowd.
I don't know though. Like,
who knows?
Because the whole populist agenda of the drafts of like you're supposedly trying to win the audience's
I certainly
favor.
felt like
dicey, right?
The other thing, I will say the other thing with Woody Allen in a New York movie draft is it's like, okay, well, so do you figure Manhattan is the pick there? There's other definitive New York movies. Well, almost all like what's the New York movie?
It's more the canon than the idea if he has one film that feels most representational of New York other than the one that's named after a borough and has a poster of the bridge.
Has some great fucking photography of Manhattan, but
and
like,
some really
what's
good
the New York movie?
Yeah.
Well, I would probably pick Manhattan, but certainly if somebody picks Annie Hall in comedy or Hannah and Her Sisters in comedy.
These are not shocking.
No,
you're not wrong.
Hannah and Her Sisters.
The Bear, 1988.
I've never seen The Bear.
Jean-Jacques.
Yeah, the Bear. Bart the Bear, the great bear actor.
It's a great, Bart the Bear plays the bear. It is it's a nature film shot really from the bear's perspective. It's very good.
Have never seen.
He was a good director.
Oh.
And that is a genre of movie that doesn't exist anymore. The sort of gentle, nature-focused, plot light,
it's
kind of
not that gentle. That's the good thing about the bear.
We've got some peril.
There's fucking in it. There's psychedelic drugs. There's, the bear's kind of.
But like the animal drama doesn't exist anymore, right?
Right.
On a tapestry from like, Black Stallion to The Bear, it used to just be like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
There would be a wide release movie.
We went to the jungle. You're going to love it.
And we're like, we think we got this animal to act.
Never Cry Wolf. Do you guys know that movie?
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I know
it's a beautiful movie, and there's no good physical media.
That's Carol Ballard, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of king of what we're talking about.
Terrific.
Yeah.
I had My Neighbor Totoro, but then Sean informs me maybe that's not quite the right release date.
It's tough.
You can call it an 88 movie, but to me, that's one where it's like, you can't go by the American date because that movie was never properly released in America.
It got a fucking trauma release.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hairspray.
Hairspray's a great movie.
Things Change.
Never seen Things
David
Change.
Mamet, Joe Mantegna, and Don Amici. A very good.
It's the poster where they're in the back of the limo, right?
Yeah. That's a very good movie. And there's a good disc of that too. I think it's Indicator has a nice disc of that.
Crossing Delancey, did that come?
Amanda fucking drafted the shit out of Crossing Delancey.
And my comedy pick, Chicken and Duck Talk.
Chicken and Duck Talk.
Never heard of it. Looking it up. Okay.
What is that?
Looks like it's a Chinese film.
Hong Kong comedy.
Sure. Yeah. Michael Hui.
Very funny.
Don't know it.
Chicken and Duck Talk.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I was pretty astounded that Fennessy didn't pick Police Story 2. He mentioned it as, I considered it. And I'm like, yeah, you should have considered it and then picked it. That's a good move.
Mystic Pizza, did that get picked?
Amanda chose Crossing Delancey over Mystic Pizza. This is really fun how we're relitigating.
I was going to kind of, and I will move off this right now, but my last, Clint Eastwood's Bird, I think one of his best movies, is an 88 film. That's an incredible film.
They did not draft that.
They did not.
A little quiet.
The one I want to ask you about, Tracy, because I feel like a couple times now, Big Picture has done sort of a drive-by of apathy towards this movie, and I like it quite a bit. Clean and Sober, the Michael Keaton film.
I like it quite a bit too.
I think that's a very good film.
I think I mentioned it actually on their podcast, on one of the physical media podcasts, because I was talking about the value of Warner Archive.
Yes.
Right, which puts out sort of standard issue releases. They're very clean. There's no extras to speak of. There's no giant boxes. It's just, here's the movie in a nice, clean presentation. And it might not have been kind of a big deal movie at the time, but I really like Clean and Sober. I think it's a very good movie. And as a person sober for a long, long time, I have to say Clean and Sober is one of the movies that gets it right, gets the psychology of that right.
I was on the Michael Keaton
fan.
Michael Keaton's maybe my favorite living actor, but I was on the Michael Keaton Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
It
was kind of a bad episode. Like, it was a fun episode with you guys talking about Keaton, but like the four big Keaton movies was actually fairly easy for you guys to arrive at.
The problem is it's easier and more interesting to pick 8 to 10 Keaton movies than it is 4, because the 4 are always going to be pretty chalk. But they were just like, it was not in the conversation for them. And I went in there being like, clearly this is one of his key texts.
Well, they get weird about some of that stuff. And I can say, in fact, to bring it back to Peter Weir,
please,
it comes up with Witness. You know, Amanda and I really love Witness.
Amanda,
I think it's a great movie.
We will spoil, we'll be on the Witness episode next week.
Amanda's going to be on the Witness episode.
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic.
We recorded it. It's in the bag.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Sean gets a look on his face like his ass is sucking lemons. And he says, is it a great movie?
Yes.
And I go, now look, depends on where, you know, it's all relative, right? We could say Seven Samurai and
Lawrence of Arabia.
Bicycle Thieves are great movies,
sure.
and these other movies are. But if you're going to live in a world where you're telling me that A Few Good Men and Pelican Brief are great movies, then goddamn right, Witness is a great movie.
Yes.
Witness is also definitively a great movie. I think that's...
It is analogous to Kurosawa, where you're like, well, like making samurai movies in the Japanese film industry at that time was akin to doing like a programmer. And he was elevating it to such a high level. I'm not saying Witness is the Seven Samurai of cop movies, but I think there is a similar, okay, but what is the most thoughtful, intelligent, deliberate, nuanced, detailed, lived-in version of this? And it is what makes Peter Weir a blank check filmmaker, arguably, I would say, not in this film, where he had a little bit of a blank check in the Australian film industry up until this point. This starts to transition him, especially with Mel Gibson being a guy who had crossed over. But then once he makes Witness work at that level, and here's just what should be a cop action movie, drama, that is now nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, gets Harrison Ford his only acting nomination. It's like every A-list actor in Hollywood wants to work with this guy. They want to bring their passion projects to him because he can lend integrity to them. But that is the next chapter of his career that ends with the film we're talking about today.
Well, I think he showed a particular skill at a kind of stranger in a strange land story, which seems to be a theme running through a lot of Peter Weir's work.
Even something like Dead Poets Society, like, which is ostensibly an inspirational teacher, but you know, Robin Williams is the stranger in a strange man there. Yeah.
I have
card for sure.
Yes. I have, continued to say this kind of quickly because I lack the knowledge and the intelligence to make this point more thoroughly, let alone the historical context. But especially watching his early Australian films, it feels very informed by a man who has spent a lifetime trying to reckon with his relationship to the country he lives in. Do I belong here? What is my ownership over this place? Does this place own me? Who has been disposed in my favor, you know? And it feels like his films are constantly cultures kind of butting up against each other, interrogating each other, and people crossing those lines and feeling out of sorts in their world.
Did I read correctly that this Year of Living Dangerously is a recent rewatch for both of you?
He'd never seen it. I saw this film several years ago, but I did rewatch it for this show.
And when did you watch it for the first time? For the first time ever, last night?
Yeah. I like to be fresh.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, what'd you think?
I liked it quite a lot. It is an interesting film. I have so greatly enjoyed the exercise of this show where we cover someone's full filmography. At times, even when it's a great career, you start to get into a feeling of, for like months, I've just been on this one guy's wavelength. And it's starting to get a little samey, even if I can extricate the values of each individual film. I'm in a bit of a loop here. And other times, the filmography is so disparate that you're just like, I'm swinging all around here. I don't have any grounding force. I have just, by and large, felt the cruising altitude of Peter Weir movies is so comforting to me. There is this kind of like thoughtful patience to his films. I love movies that feel like they have some answers that they're not sharing with you, both in terms of actually the text, but also the craft, that you can feel the intentionality in the thought and that force you to sort of lean in and try to interrogate what the person is doing. And this movie does have just such an incredible vibe to it in a very basic, fundamental way. I don't know how many films I've seen that more accurately capture the feeling of being in a foreign country. Just the basic feeling of I have landed in a place and I'm trying to acclimate to how this place works. And so much of this movie is the interrogation of who are the people who landed here and act like they already own it? Who are the people here who are trying to claim ownership? Who are the people fighting to be seen within it? And I also love anytime it can be pulled off, a movie about a fairly, how would I put this? He's not a weak lead character, but he's almost irrelevant to the movie in a certain way.
He does not drive the action. No, it's he's changed by the action.
He's changed by the action, and the movie is, okay, I guess I'm leaving this now.
He's pretty shallow.
He's pretty shallow.
Yeah, and he gains, obviously, some depth
right.
as it goes along, and he gains some understanding of the way things really work, which is what I love about this movie.
And
I think this movie is so good.
Weir's early films, which this thing we've discovered in doing this is that like he came out of a background of sketch comedy, like performing and directing, and then directing sketch comedy leads to directing theater and then directing film. And his early works, especially his short films, feel way more kind of barbed and pointed in their kind of satire of this kind of guy. A sort of well-meaning liberal white man who wants to be involved in causes, who wants to help and doesn't quite get it. And this feels like this interesting, I mean, this movie is just the transition point of like everything in his career, but he's basically removed any of the satirical edge from the character. He is presenting it very earnestly, but he is also presenting kind of how unimportant he is. And even in the framework of it being like, oh, right, he's not telling the story.
But I think it's also like about an Australian becoming alienated from like where it's about Australians becoming alienated from like the Western world or like the way the Western world works and the way the Western world operates on the rest of the world, right? And he's going in there being like, I'm like these British guys and these Americans, right? Like I'm in this mix. And then becoming alienated from it, which I think is so interesting, especially that it's Weir's last Australian film before he joins Hollywood. And he does so well in Hollywood. And I don't ever feel like he like, you know, he never like made shit there, right? Like he always did his own movies. But it's interesting that he sort of says farewell to Australia with that.
And the first four films are just so thoroughly about him interrogating his own sense of identity as an Australian of his generation and how he sees the world from that experience.
Well, I mean, the character of Guy makes basically one ethical decision in the whole movie, and it's the wrong one, right? Totally fed by his ambition and without any sense of context. It's like, I'm here to do this job and I don't care who gets hurt as a result of me doing this job, as long as it gets me what I'm after. And yeah, I think you can read that as personal on the part of Weir, especially given, as you say, he's about to go to Hollywood. He's about to leave Australia. He's about to become that. I mean, he's going to become quite a player on the world cinema scene.
I don't know if he's making this film because we have a dossier of research. I'm going to open it up, but like he'd been trying to make this for years. This was a long-standing passion project of his, so he's not making it in this sort of swan-songy way. But it's interesting how it sort of worked out. Have you ever read the book, the Christopher Koch book?
I have.
Okay.
I think it's Koch.
I was about to say that spelling, you never know how you
right.
Christopher Koch's 1978 book, which is based on his younger brother's life. His younger brother was a reporter in Indonesia during...
Is this the dossier? Have you opened?
I've opened the dossier.
Oh, it's not physical. Right? You seem disappointed.
It's
a Google Doc.
I mean, especially given the year of living dangerously, you kind of want to write a big manila folder right out of a filing
out with shadow
cabinet.
puppets.
Yeah. So his brother, was in Indonesia for the fall of the Sukarno regime. Weir reads the book and reads it in a single day and inquires for the rights like immediately. His quote is, "I could smell what's this word? Satay? I don't know what that is.
SATE?
Yes.
Interesting.
Not sure.
I think it's just a different spelling of satay.
The tang of clove cigarettes, the distant sound of the gamelan, the exotic Javanese atmosphere. Like he his whole thing, I feel like with Weir is he has these like aesthetic reactions to stories or whatever. It's like he'll read a script and be like, yeah, that's interesting. But then once in a while he reads a script where he's like, oh, I can't stop thinking about the world. Like and that's always seems to be why he then pursues a project.
He reads a thing, he goes, this is overwhelming. I could never touch this. And then he can't stop thinking about it.
Like Gallipoli is him walking on the beaches, right, in Turkey.
Yeah.
And seeing this like can from an Australian like
a medication bottle.
Right.
Yeah.
And being like, oh my God. And like then not being able to let go of like, right, our boys were here with their shit.
And then Last Wave was basically the same thing. Like literally finding an object in a space and then going like, oh, so who is the person who left this here?
David had skewered grilled meat.
Yeah, right. It's satay. Okay, right. It was just spelled differently. Probably JJ's fault.
Yeah, he's probably fired.
Have you seen The Last Wave? Obviously, you've seen Gallipoli. Have you seen? Yes. Last Wave is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that was recently put on a disc, wasn't it?
Umbrella has had a disc out for quite a while. I missed out on the deluxe edition.
Criterion is now also re-releasing.
Criterion,
it is. I had the old Criterion
the DVD.
disc. Yeah,
right.
They only have it on DVD. They haven't announced, I think, a Blu-ray or a 4K yet. It is a movie that they own outright.
Yeah, so
like it is a movie that domestically is owned by Criterion. So I think it is coming soon, hopefully.
So Weir was trying to make the Thornbirds, which of course eventually got turned into a miniseries. I don't know if you know this. And then he gets sort of diverted onto Gallipoli, but then the investors withdraw from Gallipoli. So then he turns to Living Dangerously. Then Rupert Murdoch himself funds Gallipoli, and so he gets put back to Gallipoli. So Year of Living Dangerously is backburnered. He had visited Asia in the 60s, briefly, I guess, in his he went to Colombo, which is the capital of Sri Lanka, while he was traveling up through Europe. He was very intrigued by it. Bali had become a vacation spot for him. So Bali is obviously a different island in Indonesia. I've never been to Indonesia, I will admit now.
I have not either.
Griffin, of course, has been many times. No. And Ben, yeah, you're always going
summer there.
I would love to someday.
Yes. Yeah. My wife's been to Indonesia, but she lived in China for years, so she's been everywhere.
Your wife lived in China for years?
Yes. Do you not know that?
No.
Do you not know that my wife is fluent in Mandarin?
This is so surprising for someone I'm so close with.
Griffin has known my wife since they were teenagers.
I went to high school with David's wife, so I like to contend correctly that I'm actually closer with her than he is because I've known her longer.
Is that how you guys met?
Nope.
No. Complete coincidence. We became friends and he was like, you want to hear something funny? I'm going on a date tomorrow with someone you went to high school with.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, so you guys, your friendship actually predates your relationship with your wife.
Correct.
Very much.
Here is the order.
Very much.
I meet his wife. I meet David. They meet each other. I know both of them better than they know each other.
So true.
3 kids. Who cares?
But you don't know that she's fluent in Mandarin.
Or that she's lived in China.
That she lived in China, working as a teacher, living in Hunan province.
Okay.
But because she lived in China, she was like, oh, I'm in fucking China. I'm going to go everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And so she's been to Indonesia. She's been to Thailand and Cambodia and Japan.
Was this right after college?
China. Yeah, right after college.
Okay, so those are the years we fell out of touch, I guess.
She was in freaking China. It was hard to contact her, I think. But she says it's very cool. Anyway.
Can I circle back to a thing? Yep. I know we'll have covered this in Gallipoli, but I think it's important kind of restating. Rupert Murdoch invested all this money into the idea of we got to start weaponizing what's coming out of the Australian New Wave. Not out of as much a sense of cultural pride, or national pride, as I think there's money in them hills. All these good filmmakers seem to be making interesting stuff at an industry that is still so small. Can we turbocharge that by throwing money into it? And so that's how he ends up fully financing Gallipoli. And it was part of what was supposed to be a company that was going to be mimicking this a larger project. It is the only film they ever make. But Gallipoli gets all this fucking investment. His budget jumps way up from what he had done before because of Murdoch. And the other thing is that there's this energy. It's why Gallipoli gets more of an American distribution deal up front, with everyone post Mad Max being like, how do we get Mel Gibson to Hollywood? How do we cross this bridge? This guy is just clearly like a raw element of movie star. If an Australian filmmaker has Mel Gibson, they've like opened a bunch of doors into our offices.
Do we have a timeline for what is considered the Australian New Wave?
Great question. I think it's basically like the first film that is marked as like, the Australian New Wave is like Wake in Fright or the comedy Stork, and those
Even
are
though,
both 71.
as we've been corrected,
Yes.
Wake and Fright is directed by Ted Kochev, who is not, in fact, Australian.
This is the whole thing. Walkabout is also marked as an early one, but that's also not directed. But it's like at least those are films where it's like they're filmed in Australia. And then The Adventures of Barry Mackenzie, which is 72, which is a Bruce Beresford movie, which is like a silly comedy, but that's starting to spark like independent Australian cinema again, right? Like homegrown.
This is
and
basically,
so early 70s is where you mark it. Cars That Ate Paris is 74.
Right.
And that's a really, that's a real Kickstarter.
And then that leads to Mad Max. But this is seen as kind of the beginning of the end, because right after this, you get into sort of like Brian Trenchard Smith, more kind of like just genre plays, Mad Max sequels, Crocodile Dundee. Like the thing has become commercialized.
Correct.
And most of the breakout directors have gone to Hollywood.
Right.
That makes sense because, I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma, and I probably first heard of the Australian New Wave around the year that this comes out.
So
that's
this
how
comes
late,
out in America in 83.
Right.
And by then, there have been Mad Maxes. I don't know if Road Warrior had like made it to America, but it's probably around when it's.
I had seen Road Warrior in the theater definitely before this.
And then like Beyond Thunderdome is 85. And that's that sort of thing where it's like, well, now this has gone Hollywood.
And then Dundee is 86.
Dundee is 86. Yeah, I mean,
and then
after
it's over.
that, it's over.
Yeah.
Right. And like you're saying, like all those guys, so like Beresford, Russell Mulcahy, like even the sort of lower level guys, they've all gone to Hollywood.
Noyce,
and they go, Philip Noyce, right. And they go make genre stuff mostly.
Right.
And then you have Peter Weir and George Miller as the kind of like esteemed, whatever, like Hollywood big shot versions of it.
I mean, George Miller's the odd one because he figures out how to basically keep.
But he still makes like Witches of Eastwick. Like he still
It's the one. That's the one that broke him, where then he's like, if I'm doing this, I'm doing it on my own terms, even if I'm ultimately handing the product over to Hollywood at the end of the day.
Now, did you see this film when you were, in 83?
Yeah.
Like in theaters? Yes.
Yeah.
So you would have been what?
17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And what drove you to see it, or was it just seeing everything?
Well, at that time, I saw everything. I knew who Peter Weir was. And, Mad Max, or I should say The Road Warrior, had announced Mel Gibson as a movie star in the most profound way. Just a theater full of people going, that guy's a fucking movie star, and I'll follow him anywhere. And I want to see what he's got. And of course, Year of Living Dangerously was quite a calling card for him in that it's like, oh, he's not an action star. He's not Dolph Lundgren up there. He's smart. He's he can play the male action star, but he can also play the romantic lead. He's smart. He can also play a guy who's a bit of a son of a bitch, right? There are a lot more arrows in his quiver.
Yes.
We realized with Year of Living Dangerously.
I was thinking, watching this and not having seen it before, this maybe feels like his most normal performance ever. Because obviously here he's fighting against the Mad Max thing, right? And trying to show his range he has. But then I feel like when his Hollywood persona as a movie star settles, it's still using 10% of the mania, It's the Lethal Weapon, it's the caged animal thing. And then he can also still be in rom-coms or dramas or whatever, but he does have that odd kind of manic energy to him. And this, he is just so fucking steady. He's not charming and schmoozing in the way he is in Gallipoli, where he's such an exciting kind of
playing like an innocent sort of, which it's like not something he really did much of. I don't think he's ever
played someone this kind of like simple in a way, not simple in like a backhanded way.
I never saw The River. Is he playing this kind of guy in that? Like, I'm trying to think of a comparable.
No, The River, he's playing a Midwestern farmer, not completely convincingly, but it's not an embarrassment either.
But
he never really did the kind of slightly bright-eyed,
It was just making me think of how different sort of Hollywood sees development of movie stars now, where like you have a foreign export movie that crosses over here. Everyone points and goes, that guy's a fucking movie star. And Hollywood's like, okay, collectively, how do we do this? And there is this feeling of, it's not like one studio signs him to a 10-year deal, but everyone's like, it is worth continuing to throw money at movies that have Mel Gibson in them so we can test him out and grow him incrementally. Like he needs to be in spring training, right? It helps if he's in a drama. audiences need to meet him in different flavors. We need to test what he's good at and bad at a low enough budget level that this will ultimately help all of us. Versus your Taylor Kitsch, you're on Friday Night Lights, and then they're like, great, you're the star of 3 $200 million movies.
But nobody's actually saying that, right? They're all individually.
Right, everyone's circling it.
But it did feel like there was a kind of, I don't know. You read about these things like a collective unconscious in the period between when the studio system kind of collapses and the star contracts where, people are literally saying, we're buying this guy, we're sending him to charm school, we're molding him in our image. Things dissipate, but still there is a sense of like, movie stars are rare. If there is one potentially on the board, it benefits all of us to just chip away at this guy. Part of it, I'm sure, is also selfishly like, will Mel Gibson look fondly upon us 10 years from now because we financed one of his early films?
Not to mention what Mel himself wants, right? Because he wants to be taken very seriously. Eventually he's going to wind up making Hamlet. He's going to wind up making Braveheart. He wants to be taken seriously in this way. So of course he's not going to follow Road Warrior with, I can't think of anything stupid enough.
Right. Oh, you're trying to think of like, what's the dumb thing?
What would be the dumb thing he could do?
What's interesting is that he follows Road Warrior and Year of Living Dangerously with 3 prestige pictures, none of which I feel like were quite it. Like there's the Donaldson Bounty film,
right,
which is like pretty good. It's like
pretty good.
Everyone's
he gets to be opposite Anthony Hopkins.
Right. Everyone's all dressed up and yelling, and it's fine. He does The River, which I feel like didn't really make an impact, but on paper made sense.
Who directed The River?
Mark Rydell.
Oh, right.
So like, he'd done The Rose that had gone Oscar noms. He'd done obviously On Golden Pond. And then he does that thing, Mrs. Soffel with Diane Keaton, which I've never seen, but Gillian Armstrong's a good director, but like a bomb.
That feels like he gets stuck in he's a little too earnest.
Yeah, and it feels like these are movies that the bigger guys had passed on.
Right.
And it was like, well, let's gamble on this Australian guy who's so handsome. Like, he'll make sense.
And playing him a little more romantic, maybe. And then he does like
Thunderdome and then Lethal Weapon.
Right. And then
it's like,
it's off to the races.
Well, it's off to the races, but it is him doing action for a while. It's like Tequila Sunrise, Air America, like those. And then he grabs the prestige with like Hamlet. And
I think what they dialed in with Lethal Weapon and with Thunderdome in particular, where he's older, where he's like a more haunted Max and everything, is like, what's the right level of crazy we want here? Maybe we cleaned him up too much, with like your Mrs. Softells and stuff. Like, let's get a little bit of the energy back in there. And then those 2 movies, it's like, we got it. We know who he is. We have a handle on him. Off to the races.
How old is he when he does Year of Living Dangerously?
Still, it's a good question.
Still quite young.
If that film is made around 81, 82, he's, let me do the math here.
27?
No, he's older than that. No. He was born in 56. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, 26.
Yeah,
he's really young.
Yeah.
He's only 70 now.
Yeah.
And it's obviously he's been famous my entire life.
I mean, he is so pretty in this. It is kind of astounding, just the serenity of his face.
It's the magic of aging. It means if you're Pacino or whatever, that I can show someone like The Godfather and they're like, I didn't realize he used to look like this. And you're like, yeah take a look. Like, there was a reason everyone was going insane about this guy.
Apologies for the tangent, but I found recently, through doing some Wikipedia rabbit holes, do you know that Al Pacino is actually on the record, as far as we are able to historically document these things, as one of the 25 oldest fathers in human history?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, good for him. Good for
No, I didn't know that.
Everyone was like, oh, he had a kid really old. And I'm like, yeah, doesn't that happen like a lot though? And it was like, no, he's up there.
There is a Wikipedia entry. List of oldest fathers on record.
And a couple of them are questionable. Like the top guy, they're like, that guy might have been adding 2 decades to his age. And I'm like, then throw him off this fucking list.
Let me tell you, the top 25 you don't know about. They're not on. They're not on.
They're
Wikipedia.
not bragging about it.
On record. There's one guy also.
Tony Randall is on this list.
Tony Randall
he had a child at 77.
Yes, he was married to one woman for like 40 or 50 years. She passed away. He married a 20-something. They pumped out 2 kids really fast, and he passed away.
Tony Randall, also from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Wow.
So the screenplay is written by 3 people, right? So Weir and David Williamson are one team. They already had written Gallipoli together.
Playwright.
Right.
Playwright.
A great playwright, I feel like, of the, and then, so it's Coach or?
Koch. I think it's Koch.
Right. Koch wrote his own script and they kind of merged them, but Weir describes the relationship as bumpy.
But it was a little, not exquisite corpse, but like these things were happening, siloed processes that were then mushed together.
As it usually is, I think, when you see multiple screenwriters on a thing. Somebody didn't meet somebody else.
I just think sometimes it's more iterative,
right?
Where it's handed off from one person. I guess that's more exquisite corpse. Whereas this, it was more like Frankenstein's monster, where they're like, we got 4 bodies. Which parts do we want to pluck from each of them?
Though the movie does not differ from the book in any great way.
Yeah.
A different narrator, I suppose, is probably the biggest change.
It's not Billy in the book.
It's not Billy in the book.
Yeah.
It's another journalist. In the book.
Okay. But that feels very telling.
Right.
Whether that was Weir's decision or that Weir responded to someone else suggesting that.
Yeah.
It does feel like kind of.
No, it's that's
the most important framework the movie provides.
Yeah.
Yeah. For how to read it, in my opinion.
So Koch says, and there was initial publicity that left his name off. He says he sort of fought for the screenplay credit, and that as it always is with these sort of screenwriting disputes, everyone's got their story. But Weir, Koch says, I gave Weir a screenplay. He liked it. He took it to CBS in America. They didn't like the script, and so there was a polish. It turned into a rewrite, and Koch is like, I know I'm not trying to be like the sensitive novelist here, but they had fucked up my story and I fought to put stuff back in. And so Weir kind of rewrites the rewrite. The rewrite was done by a guy called Alan Sharp, who is, wrote Night Moves, like a Hollywood guy. Weir rewrites the Sharp script more in the direction of what Koch is interested in. CBS drops out. Williamson then comes on board. Koch's final estimates is that the script is 55% Williamson Weir, 45% me. Sharp excised, which was the stuff he really didn't like. So, he's moderately happy. Peter Weir's take is, I ate the novel, I digested it, and it was delicious. I can only recall the taste, but what I then spoke as a result of the experience was my way of telling the story. He really has a way with words. Like, not a lot of guys sat down in front of a WGA panel or whatever and was like, well, I ate the script and it tasted good.
I will say in our months of reading and watching interviews with Peter Weir, and as someone who loves to just drive a bit into the ground, his commitment to metaphors in talking about his process, he will pick one and he will really stick with it and ride it out to the end of the thought.
Right.
Yeah.
They altered the Quan character. Weir says he's much less likable in the novel. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And I guess he wanted sort of to alter the balance of that. So in what way is he not likable? Is he just like more of a cynical kind of?
Yeah, I think my recollection of it is that he's Quan is more manipulative.
Yeah. Because like this movie frames, it is a film that positions Quan as the hero of the story. It is almost kind of like Big Trouble in Little China in many ways, of sort of like, here's your like fake lead at the center. But actually this movie's being driven by this person who would never be allowed to be the center of a story.
He also says he filled out Jill's character more. In the book, the character's pregnant. He felt like that was a little too much. Like, essentially, why would she be sort of throwing herself into all of this? Why would Hamilton be interested, like in a further complication of that? So they removed that. And, it's just essentially like, I assume this is correct. And we were saying the book is very much about the politics of the time. And the movie is not really, not that it's how am I trying? Like, it's like this movie could be set in other moments of sort of critical change in a country, I guess.
You don't need to know anything about Indonesian history or politics in order to enjoy the movie The Year of Living Dangerously.
You need to, you know that there is essentially a sort of coup that happens at the end of the film, but like this is a crazy and fascinating moment in Indonesian like history. And it's only, and like the point is that he's only grasping little bits of it anyway, I guess.
I will say I'm the opposite of David in this regard, where I, more than anything, value a movie that can be in conversation with real historical events, but not require you to open a bunch of Wikipedia tabs. I don't look to those films as educational resources. I don't walk out of them going, clearly I know everything. But I like the ability to sort of tell a story adjacent to, in tandem with, real hard history that just kind of works as a complete closed loop on its own dramatically.
Well, how well do you know Vienna post World War II? How well do you need to know it in order to enjoy The Third Man?
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yes, sure.
I mean, we're going to give you just enough context so you know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Right. It's the job of basically any movie.
Yeah.
And I think Weir is, in particular, very good at that. Almost all of his films are like in conversation with larger, thornier issues that are too hard to compress down narratively, but he is telling one very clear emotional story within that.
But of course, you've also got the problem, the issue of Peter Weir and David Williamson and C.J. Koch and Mel Gibson and Sigourney Weaver telling you a story set in exotic Indonesia.
Yes. Right. And I think that's a lot of this movie's tricky, like, standing at this present moment is even just taking a little cursory view of Letterboxd. I feel like there is a conversation for a movie that's a little bit lost. And part of this is no proper physical media representation, not streaming in the regular places.
Kind of a cruddy streaming.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Is this movie a peak example of kind of Hollywood exoticism, even though it was not fully a Hollywood movie? Or is this a movie that is actually kind of interrogating that? Which does not mean is not guilty of any of the attributes. But I do think, and I especially think this in having watched the earlier Australian films up until this point, I do think that is very deliberately what he is doing. I think he is very skillful at making movies where he is owning what his perspective is and the limitations of his perspective and working that in textually and narratively and commenting within that. But I think everything we're saying about the recentering of the Billy Kwan character, which we will get to momentarily, is its own major conversation, is what he's really trying to say here. Of like, here's a story of a guy who lands in a foreign country that is under great turmoil and is primarily focused on advancing his own career with a sense of kind of back patty, I want to be doing the right thing, and falls in love and has a hot fucking 2 movie stars at the prime of physical specimenship.
I mean, Sigourney is
love
so
affair.
stunning.
The two of them look unbelievable in this, but it's like they're just getting it on while people are really fucking suffering.
Right.
And, you know,
but the movie's very conscious of that.
Right. And the actual story is this Billy Kwan character trying to push these kind of useful idiots into helping, you know, rather than hurting. And
but without like Billy never wants to tip his hand.
Correct.
That, like he cares too much. That he's paying too much attention to everybody. That he's keeping his files. Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, even the question of like, why do you have access to the president? You know, why do you have his ear? That he's just sort of kept tabs on everything for any moment he feels like he can move the chess pieces around the board to help the cause. But of course, the tragedy of this movie is like Billy Kwan falls out a window and Sigourney Weaver and Mel Gibson get on a plane and get to go like, well, that was interesting, but back to our normal life. And they just leave the problem there.
That's right. And does Weir get away with something because he's already established his liberal bona fides, these story points that you talk about, colonialism in Australia? Is he giving us a little extra credit for that? Whereas the people who made Casablanca or the Third Man are not given that kind of credit. I mean, obviously, when I saw this movie in 1983 in a movie theater, none of this shit ever crossed my mind, right? But I see it now in a different light, right? 40 years changes the perspective.
Yes, I wonder what the sort of discourse was at the time, because this was a big-ish film.
It was banned in Indonesia until like
Well,
2000.
Yeah, well, that's not a country that
No, I know.
allowed discourse on its politics until the 21st century.
But also,
and even after that, yes.
There was discourse and, what was it? Death threats against Weir and Gibson from Muslims who believed the film would be anti-Islamic forced the production to move to Australia.
Yes, right.
Because they were going
from the
film
Philippines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
no,
I
I'm
believe-
sorry. It was supposed to film in Jakarta.
Which is in Indonesia.
Right. Then it was denied. So then it moved to the Philippines. And then they had to end up filming the final chunk of it in Sydney.
Got it. Because all the actors, I believe, who are not the three principals or four principals are Filipino actors.
Yes. Ultimately, this film's financed by MGM. The first of their Freddie Fields era, a famous super agent who was the president of MGM in the 80s, cost $6 million Australian dollars. Don't know like what that translates to, but sort of a small to medium spend, I guess.
Sure. About 10, I think, based on the math we did for Gallipoli.
I was about to go the other direction. All right, good to know.
Okay, I think.
They supported the Linda Hunt casting choice, which was sort of a fraught choice.
Yeah, so he cast David Atkins at first, who is like an
Correct.
Australian dancer and a
Correct.
national treasure.
And I assume they cast him more for sort of like a physical reason, and then they like start doing rehearsals with Gibson, and they're like, "Oh, he cannot hold his
This
own
is wrong.
against Gibson."
He was a small Caucasian man, but not a man with dwarfism.
Right. And so they start like looking for, anybody essentially. They look in America because they had, according to Weir, exhausted their casting sessions in Australia and Hong Kong and London. Wallace Shawn tested, which is
oh my god,
unbelievable to imagine.
And the other one is Bob Balaban.
Yes.
Oh my
that they
god.
were like, who are tiny guys with particular energies who can be pulling like Mel Gibson's suit jacket. I mean, beyond just the fact that Linda Hunt gives such a good performance, in talking about everything that is tricky about watching this performance today, it is, I just think, helpful to envision how much worse it could have been.
Yes.
Because that's to imagine Wallace Shawn doing this.
It's
no
so
disrespect
interesting.
to the great Wallace Shawn.
Of course. It's like
The film would be illegal.
a thing that Linda Hunt is famous for after this movie is Aunt Dan and Lemon, the Wallace Shawn play.
Yes.
She's in, right?
Yes.
It's funny that they I have no idea if this came up of like, what was your Billy Kwan
I
audition
found a
like?
whole interview with her where she was talking about it and comparing notes with him.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, so bad casting session in LA. He's reading the Gibson part,
For David Atkins, or you're saying Wallace Shawn?
No. Weir is like reading with people. He's reading
sure.
Gibson's lines. Like everything sucks apparently.
Yeah.
And a casting director holds up a photograph and he was like, "That's perfect." And the casting director was laughing and was like, "No, this is a woman." And Weir is like, "I was just desperate." And I was like, "I want to meet her. Please." Like
She had done one movie up until this point.
right.
She had been in Robert Altman's Popeye as
Right.
part of basically the ensemble of Sweet Haven. I think she is Roundhouse's mother, maybe.
Right.
But she's-
she'd done Broadway. She'd done some theater.
She'd done a lot of theater.
She
Right.
had gone to the theater school at DePaul University, formerly the Goodman School of Drama, and I believe she was cut. I think she was cut from that program, and then when she became very famous, they went back to her and said, "Would you mind if we said you were
Fucking unbelievable.
an alum?"
Yeah. She's a New Jersey native, Ben.
But
Yes, from Morristown.
grew up in Westport, I believe.
Westport,
Yes,
Connecticut.
and she's as a teenager diagnosed with hypopituitary dwarfism.
Right. She's 4'9".
Yes, she is a Caucasian woman.
This is so true. This is unbelievably true.
Yes, it couldn't be more true.
She asked, I think the sensitivity at the time was more that she was like, "Can we rewrite this to be a woman?" Like,
Yes.
she was a little bit more like, "I'm not sure I can pull off playing a guy." Like,
Yes.
I don't know how much, unfortunately, there was hand wringing over, like, putting someone in yellowface at the time.
When you read the response at the time or people talking about the making of the movie, it felt like their concern was, will this look silly? Not, is this offensive?
Right. Yes.
It was, this is a big swing. And in a serious dramatic film, does it throw the entire thing off balance? And the fact that it doesn't, and that her performance is so good, it is, Fantasy's been talking about this a lot recently, it is one of those rare examples of a Best Supporting Actress win that's basically a cakewalk and the only nomination that movie got. You know,
is so crazy.
It's similar to the Amy Madigan Weapons thing of just people being like, yeah, this is just like, this is kind of 1 in a million thing. This immediately is stuck in everyone's mind.
I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine Year of Living Dangerously without Linda Hunt in it.
It is the defining element
you make with the movie. I think weirdly, David, that it's considered brown face.
It's a fair point.
Yellow
You're right.
face because she's portraying a
South Asian,
Southeast
person.
Asian person.
This is clearly something I'm very good at parsing out and talking about in like an intellectual. No, you're right. I mean,
but no, nobody was concerned about that in 1982. And nor am I going to but the decision at the time, right? We show the movies to our kids that come with the disclaimers now.
Yeah.
This was wrong at the time. It's wrong now.
Right.
And I believe that absolutely to be true.
Yeah, and that's how I feel. The thing with this one that's so odd is it's not like Breakfast at Tiffany's or whatever, where you're like, well, this is plainly offensive at the time, and it's just playing into a stereotype and all this.
You know, like Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins is only like a year or two after this, and has Joel Grey playing a villainous character who is like borderline Fu Manchu,
right,
and that is a performance that gets like a Golden Globe nomination.
But that was Hollywood at the time.
They were
like,
obsessed with the stunt of
yes.
It was as if like, oh my god, and this is I'm choosing my language very carefully here. I'm saying that this was their attitude at the time, and this is exactly what the danger of the dehumanization was. It was treated as, can you believe this human being convincingly played a dog? You know, that it was like,
right.
Oh, they
of course,
transformed
it's
into
acting, my friend,
and makeup and a voice, and they changed the whole thing. And now we obviously have like an entirely different language for how we consider like who should play what and how. It is interesting that it feels like the gender part of this is the most interesting part of the performance, the most powerful, and I actually think would be seen as progressive today, in my mind.
In that light, it would. I'll also tell you, you know, when you're the director and you're setting up the auditions and you're working with a casting director and you say, what we need from this character is a half Chinese, half Australian dwarf,
right?
Within a certain age,
right?
And you set up the auditions, and then you look out in the waiting room and you go, they're not out there. They're not coming in because not to say they didn't exist, but say there are 4 of them out there, Chinese, Australian people with dwarfism who are coming into audition, and maybe 2 of them are the wrong age, and one of them is just terrible, and one of them you're like, oh, maybe we can make this work.
I'm not going to like rank the levels of offensiveness of which things are touchier than others, but it's like, what if you find the right guy and he's 6'7", and now he's like walking with like shoes on his knees, you know? And it did feel like the part of this that felt risky creatively was the gender element. And it is the thing that gives this movie this like entirely different like power and text. I don't know if it's just me watching this for the first time yesterday, but it feels like baked in. And it was this interview I found that Linda Hunt did with Bomb Magazine where she's talking about having just done the run of the Wallace Shawn play. And she said like, that was deliberate in my mind, that like I am playing a supra personality, that I am not trying to play a man. And you watch this now, and it feels like there is a reading that is pretty easy to get to of this character being like an Albert Nobbs, of being someone who has assumed a different gender identity, whether out of personal expression or out of means of survival. And that is kind of like the secret the movie is holding. And I think that was the thing that just made this performance so transfixing. That, you know, in an era where people are just doing kind of race-swapped casting offensively without any delicacy, playing into stereotypes without any larger gain, this performance is not doing that, or rather that's not the main driving force. So people were just like, fucking hand her the Oscar right away. And as like a kid growing up in the 90s and trying to learn about Oscar history, it was such a weird thing to stumble upon and be like, in like the 80s, they gave Best Supporting Actress to a woman playing a Filipino man. And it's like someone I haven't heard of, but now that you're pointing her out, she does just kind of pop up in things.
Does he, do you suppose there's any consciousness that he's indemnifying the brown face decision by doing that gender swap?
I do wonder.
But I really think the way he presents it is more just the total desperation of we could not find anyone even close to being good for this.
Right.
And it's such a unique and specific role. And then he at one point was like, should I make the character even more physically unusual? Should I make it a hunchback? Should I essentially just kind of transform it in a way that it might fit other actors, right? And then he pulls back from that because he finds Linda Hunt. I do think Linda Hunt wins the Oscar because she's good. I do also think she wins because it was one of those kind of like, well, like you said, like, well, this has never happened before. We have to sort of acknowledge what an unusual performance this is.
Who else was nominated that year?
That's a good question.
It's a weird year. I was looking at because it's Cher for Silkwood, who I think wins the Golden Globe. The SAG doesn't exist yet.
Right. And that's Cher's entree.
Right.
You know, like into being taken seriously and she'll win.
Right. Maybe Cher was going to be the front runner.
This is the year. So it's Cher and Silkwood, Amy Irving and Yentl, a lovely performance. But probably not going to win. Alfre Woodard in Cross Creek, which is a great performance, but is a small movie. And again, probably sort of like a welcome to the biz, you know. And then Glenn Close in The Big Chill, which is not like the definitive Close performance, but I feel like now they'd look back and be like, should we just fucking give it to her for that? And then
this is what
saves
Close.
us the headache of,
right.
Every time they nominated her, they were like, but we'll give it to her for the next one.
And she was the only actor nominated from
Correct.
The Big Chill, right?
Which is weird because she is good in it, but she doesn't actually have a big role.
I think it just speaks to her status that she was so...
She has the scene where she cries in the shower, which is like a big Oscar-y kind of scene.
Yeah.
But like if I'm giving someone an Oscar for that movie, it's like Jo Beth Williams or something. I don't know. It's someone else.
Well, it's absolutely the argument for an ensemble award.
It is.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
that would have won Best
Big
Cast.
Chill would have won it hands down.
Yeah. And then who's the fifth nominee again?
Is Linda Hunt. So Linda Hunt, Cher, Glenn Close, Amy Irving, Alfre Woodard.
Right. Okay.
Good year.
It's
great
it's an interesting year.
It's an interesting year.
That's the Terms of Endearment year.
Right. And they run both of them in lead.
Yes. So Shirley
So
MacLaine.
it
Right. Like you could have put...
Today they would have put...
MacLaine in supporting.
No, I think they would have put Deborah in supporting and it would have been bullshit. If that movie came out...
they would have put MacLaine in supporting, which is weird.
I think you're disregarding the kind of like...
I know what you're arguing.
Elder statesman rule. I would point to Carol as the analog.
Yeah, but Officer and Gentleman already come out. So Deborah Winger was a big movie star, and that movie's more about her. And MacLaine is the sparky supporting character, like in this bullshit read of it. Like I think Deborah would have been lead and might have won. Maybe they should have done some category fraud.
Both won.
But Linda Hunt won. And Linda Hunt's such an interesting actor who has such a crazy, interesting career in some ways.
No,
but is also someone that, like, obviously Hollywood never really knows what to do.
No,
right?
there's
like,
a fascinating kind of like paycheck run, and I don't say that disparagingly, where the studios are like, this person's interesting. How can we work her into our big movies? And you're like, oh, she's like the madam running the saloon in Silverado. She's like the stern principal in Kindergarten Cop. Like there's a good series of big studio paycheck gigs for her that all use her in an interesting way.
Another one or two Altman movies too, right?
She's in Pret-a-Porter.
Yeah.
And then she ends up she was on a 90s legal show. And then she was on NCIS.
She's on The Practice.
Yes.
But as like one of the judges. But NCIS.
For 100 years. She was on that show for 100 years.
Los Angeles?
Los Angeles, right. I always forget if it was New Orleans or Los Angeles.
This is a thing I discovered that I'm so happy I did the research and stumbled upon this myself. Linda Hunt twice won the Teen Choice Award Surfboard for Choice Female TV Star : Action.
For NCIS LA?
Yes.
Those awards, of course, are full of integrity and voted on by...
Action.
Wait a minute. They give a surfboard?
Yeah, you win a whole surfboard? You got a gun for one of these. You got your Pulitzer. You got your Tonys.
You got to get a surfboard.
I mean, you go up on stage and they give you a...
I was desperately trying to find a video of her accepting the surfboard.
There's no way
on her IMDb, she is credited once as self at one of those ceremonies, but I could not find any video of it. But both years, I think the category was exactly the same. I believe she beat Yvonne Strahovski for Chuck.
Yeah,
Maggie Q for the La Femme Nikita TV show. Like, it's like 4 TV
Here's,
shows.
Shailene Woodley accepting a surfboard.
Oh, it's a full-size fucking surfboard.
Yeah.
It was 2 years in a row, the exact same nominees.
I think I just like leave it in the in a parking spot, outside. Just like,
No, you got to
set this
ride
down
that
the
shit
sidewalk.
home. I just love that it was 4 women in high heels who kicked people, and that both times they were like, the teens have spoken, and they like Linda Hunt sitting behind a desk.
What if you don't surf? This is my. What are you going to do with a surfing board?
Sell it, frame it. I don't know.
Do we call it a surfing board?
I think it's just surfboard. This is, again, you're not really a Hollywood guy, I'm feeling here.
But to this point, it's like, this wasn't an anointment of a career. She was basically unknown to most of Hollywood. She was, established in theater, but had done almost no on-camera work. And then Hollywood is like, I guess we gotta cast her in stuff, but she never becomes, like, you look back and go like, oh, that makes sense that Linda Hunt has an Oscar.
She got a Tony nomination for End of the World, a play I don't really know in the 80s. Yeah. Anyway, she's in the film. Gibson obviously was the choice to begin with. Apparently he was vaguely wary of the character. I think because he'd never done that kind of a thing, right? The sort of more cool, detached.
Just the whole dissenter thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver, Peter Weir liked the film Alien.
Yeah.
Like many of us. And so I don't know. He didn't have to press too hard.
Her time in between Alien and Ghostbusters wasn't rocky, but you do look back at it and you feel her fighting against getting pigeonholed as just genre.
As right, like a sort of an action queen or whatever.
Right. And it feels like she tries a lot of interesting stuff when she in Ghostbusters can prove that she's funny, and then that's followed by Aliens and Gorillas in the Mist and everything. Like,
right.
By 84, 85, it's like, oh, Sigourney Weaver can do anything.
But she only does one movie in between Dangerously, which is Eyewitness.
Right.
Which is
she and Bill Hurt both kind of anointed new movie stars at that point.
Never seen. They're like journalists, right? They're like TV journalists.
Peter Yates, right?
Peter Yates.
I think James Woods is also in that. That's not bad.
Sure. Right.
When she had been in college, she had gone to school with Christopher Durang.
Right.
And he had written these plays. They would do these plays in college, and he wrote these roles for her where she was kind of the, in a sense, he's writing, right? They were very, very much comedies, and she got to do lots of wacky stuff or be kind of the fact that she was tall, statuesque, beautiful, long-legged, and yet being in these screwball comedies or playing a kind of Margaret Dumont character in these things that Durang would write. So it makes sense that after Alien, she would say, well, that's not really who I'm not really an ass-kicking action star. I do different stuff. But in Year of Living Dangerously, she and Mel, right, find an opportunity to play. I mean, she's just so fucking smart, right? Her screen persona is so fucking smart. And so you can imagine a lot of actors who would feel not equipped to play this role that she plays in Year of Living Dangerously.
She has really a tremendous amount of intelligence and authority on screen that just is established second one when you see her in a movie that doesn't have a ton of time to backfill character.
Right after this is when she does Hurly Burly on Broadway, which I feel like was another kind of big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Right. Does she do much theater now? Like
she did Christopher Durang's Masha and Sonia and Spike.
That was the last one.
I think so. She doesn't do a lot of it these days.
Yeah.
Is she in these fucking Avatar things?
Tracy,
she sure is, and she is crazy.
I'm so glad you asked. In a stroke of almost Linda Hunt-esque casting.
It is bizarre what they do with her.
Sigourney Weaver plays a 13-year-old alien.
So in the first film...
It is a phenomenal performance.
In the first film, Sigourney Weaver plays the scientist, a human person.
She's like a chain-smoking, tired... I'm trying to make these avatars. How do people become aliens?
She dies in the first film, spoiler alert. But her mind is uploaded, of course, to a mind tree. Don't worry about it.
When you say spoiler alert after... the spoiler, it kind of loses some
a little bit. And then in the second and third films, she plays in Navi, an alien, so motion capture performance, but they use the motion capture so that she can play a 13-year-old girl.
But it looks like her.
Alien.
It
looks
like
like her.
Sigourney Weaver's face on a 13-year-old blue cat alien, and she is so good in the films.
And
It is such a well-observed performance of a teenager.
Yeah.
It is. Here she is.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, but back to the Year of Living Dangerously. It's just so exciting having you on the show. I feel like we just want to tell you all these things.
Yeah, we're excitedly showing you our like macaroni art.
As we said, they were never really going to do Indonesia. They shot in Manila, which was very arduous. Then there were terrorist threats, which was a problem. Manila is a very Catholic city at the time, I think. Then they start shooting in a village that's very heavily Muslim, and this causes a lot of friction. And they, I think, don't know how much of a mess they're making by doing all of this. Like, they're just blundering around making their movie. So they eventually have to retreat to, at one point, a note was left in a vehicle saying, "In the name of Allah the Almighty, stop your imperialistic film or we will stop you." Well,
that's the thing. The discourse of this movie, I think it was not touchy in the States. It was touchy the places they were filming.
Right. That makes sense.
Yes.
So Weir's like, we're going to leave. Imelda Marcos, the then first lady, but a big Filipino politician, obviously, personally reaches out and begs them, like, don't leave. Like, we'll figure this out. But Weir is just kind of like, this is too fucked up. Like, we don't need to be, dealing with all this. Life first, movie second is how he puts it. So then they do another like 6 weeks in Sydney, recreating some of the sets, like patching it all together. And the biggest battle. What do you think the biggest battle over this movie was after it was, final cut?
The biggest battle?
Like the biggest kind of like a U.S. censor kind of, the studio thing. Like, it's that there's child nudity, that there's the boy naked when he's sick.
Oh, God.
And that, like, isn't that, isn't that how it goes though? Like, it's like, they're like, well, wait a second though. Why are we seeing a penis? I don't like a child's penis.
From the dead child who's being...
Right. Priorities there, maybe a little out of whack.
Film came out December 82 in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Late January 83 in America. So Linda Hunt wins an Oscar for a performance that was a year plus old.
Wild.
Like she wins in the 84 Oscars.
Yeah, and looking through it really felt like she just sort of swept all the critic awards.
Yeah.
It must have been a performance that people were like, that was interesting. Obviously, that's not a traditional Oscar-winning performance. And then it became such a critic's cause that she carried it all the way. I just think back to the casting thing for a second. An interesting comparison point that I saw people pointing out on Letterboxd, to your point of like, yes, it is incredibly hard to cast these things, right? And in theater, you are granted more sort of latitude if people can play things representationally. And in film, we expect a kind of literalism. And how do you find the real person and also know that they can deliver what's necessary for the role? And all of that, which is, none of this said as an excuse, right? Just that casting is an incredibly tricky art form. The weird kind of counter to this movie is Killing Fields 2 years later, where they hire Hayang Nesnagor, who basically just was the guy he was playing, and he wins an Oscar as well, And it's in an academy that has very rarely awarded Asian actors at all. He is one of the few, and it's basically, he is considered, it's him and Harold Russell from Best Years of Our Lives are the two times that someone who was like straight up a non-professional actor, we hired this guy based on life experience, and it worked. Even then, it's going to be hard if you go, well, let's just assume we can direct them and we can get the performance out of them. We have to find a 4'9" half Australian Filipino dwarf. It's still like a tough challenge.
I years ago
just to literally identify that human being alive on the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Years ago, I did a play of mine called Linda Vista, and there's a Vietnamese American character in Linda Vista. And we went about trying to cast this role, and trying to cast a Vietnamese actor in Chicago was challenging. We eventually got there. I have a Chinese Korean American friend who said to me, why are you trying to cast a Vietnamese person? You're not going to find a Vietnamese person. You just cast an Asian person. And I said, but don't you think that the Vietnamese person would have a different perspective on that and would want to see themselves, want to see the Vietnamese person represented on stage by a Vietnamese actor? And she said, that's not the way we look at it. She said, if I have to wait for the role to come up that's a Chinese Korean American, I've already got a limited number of roles I can play. And now you're going to tell me that I can only play a role if it's Chinese Korean American. Well, I don't know what Linda Hunt would say, since she has dwarfism,
Yes.
about a role that comes up in
Yes.
which
This
she's
is
being asked
right.
to play a dwarf.
Yes.
Now, would she say something different now than she said back in 1982? I don't know.
I don't know. We're not hand waving or excusing any of it. There are like two fundamental truths, which is this casting would never happen today, and this performance is extraordinary. And it is like really the juice of the movie in every way. And back to just the reframing around this character is the whole reason this movie works for me, on top of her just nailing the performance so hard. But I think today there would be some form of reconceptualization around the character somehow.
I think today a director would say, let's find that person before I do anything else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I've got to know that I've got that person that I can build this movie around.
There was whatever years ago, 2019, Steven Spielberg announced he was going to make that movie about the kidnapping
of Ricardo Montalto. It's been made since then. You know,
yes. But he announced it as his next film. And they said, and now we begin the worldwide casting search for the kid.
Right.
And basically after 2 years, he was like, I can't make this movie.
Yeah.
We never found the kid.
Right.
You know? And if you're Steven Spielberg, you have the clout to be given the money and the runway to search, knowing that you might not find the kid. If you're Peter Weir at this point in your career,
no, I know. Yeah,
they're saying to you, here's when you start filming.
Yeah.
In Manila, no less.
Right.
Like,
you decide who's playing that role. But we're not waiting around for 4 years. Mel's got like 2 more fucking Mad Maxes to make or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So the film, we should discuss a little more in depth, I would imagine. What do we...
It opens with Billy Kwan, a character who we'll later find out is dead.
Sure.
But is telling the story of the film to us, basically. Sure.
You're right. He's narrating from beyond...
In diary form.
Right.
Yes.
Right. In a way.
Yeah.
Does this mean we're done with the dossier?
We are. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm
the only thing left there is, the reviews, the reception of the film, which I can tell you more.
If there are specific questions, we can always plug.
I can tell you it played at Cannes. I can tell you that it was well received by critics. And Weir these days is sort of like, I'm not sure about that film's legacy, but I'm glad, it still exists. He doesn't talk about it in a reverential way exactly, but I think it was a pain to make.
Here's what I don't know yet. How do you feel about this?
I love this film. I love this film. Sensitivities aside and all, like the things we discussed, it's just the kind of movie I really respond to because it's sexy, but also like politically complex and rewarding in its complexity. Just like not giving you an easy answer, not giving you an easy guy to root for. Like, he makes mistakes that are identifiable mistakes to me. He behaves in a way that I'm like, yeah, I don't know that I would really be of upright integrity here either. I don't know that I would know how to navigate this situation, but I would be kind of thrilled by it. It's just a film that feels very relevant. Always. You can say it's relevant now. Everything's relevant now. Right now, everything is relevant.
Right now, everything is relevant.
Yeah, but like,
the Super Mario Galaxy movie has never been more relevant.
Right. All films. But like capturing like the feeling of a country on the brink of something is hard to do. Like, and I love any movie that does that. And I love like Rossellini movies, or I'm trying to think of like what are other movies that you would put in that genre of like sort of films about a revolution, but that aren't about like the instigators of that revolution. I don't know.
That's an interesting question.
But I love revolutions too. Missing is
right.
Another film that's impossible to find right now, right? Isn't Missing
It's on Criterion.
Oh, it's on Criterion.
Yeah.
Well,
David,
then I should go fuck myself.
You should. But Gallipoli is
that was
sort of
not inherent in my comment that you should go fuck yourself.
Gallipoli is similar in that regard. It is, backgrounding a giant historical moment and showing it to you only through the perspective of people who don't understand how important what is happening around them is actually going to be.
Yes. I like what I look, I'm no expert on Indonesia. I don't know if you are. Are you?
I am not an expert on Indonesia.
This is good to get out there.
But like Sukarno, from what I understand, Sukarno was not a communist. but he was sort of like loosely aligning himself left wing, loosely aligning himself with the Soviets, maybe loosely drifting from the Americans. And what's happening in this movie is the West, the Americans, the Brits, the whatever, the old nasty stakeholders are like, let's fucking sow chaos so that we can get our guy in, right? Like that's what happened in Indonesia, right? Because like Suharto is the guy who replaces him. He's like I'll do what the Americans.
David is saluting for those of you listening at home.
I know that I am embarrassingly simplifying Indonesian like politics here, but right, like, and I just love that what's up, Ben?
Well, because I was really trying to figure out, like, he seems to be this figure, like a hero.
He is Sukarno, he
Sukarno.
is. He's the father of like Indonesian independence. Like,
right?
They broke off from they were controlled by the Dutch for 100 fucking more. I mean, how many? Hundreds of years. They were the Dutch East Indies. And like post-war, he's the leader of their independence movement.
And completely anti-imperialist, right? He doesn't want anything to do with the colonizers.
Right.
And therefore sets himself up as a leader of the country. But of course, he's terribly corrupt as well.
And that's what the tension of especially Billy Kwan. I mean, everyone else here is they're drifting in here because it's interesting. Like Billy Kwan wants Sukarno to help, and Sukarno like and I guess identifies in Sukarno like good, right? Like you could be doing good. I mean, like, were I in charge of a nation of 10,000 islands with like 400 million languages and like that had just been liberated from Dutch bond? I imagine corruption would reign. I don't really know. Like this is what I don't know. Like, was Sukarno a bad leader? Like, I don't think so. Like, I think it was just like an insane and complicated situation that then the West kind of like blew up.
I also think there's an interesting chicken and the egg thing when you look at like radical revolutionary movements and how often those leaders are proven to be corrupt, and whether there is some driving force in them that pushes the politics, even if ultimately helpful to their people, so that they can achieve their own ultimate desires and gains, or if it's just classic fucking absolute power corrupts absolutely. But so often you have these arcs of the person being the savior, ultimately becoming the exact kind of person that they existed to topple.
Yeah,
a little.
Not the exact same. There was a thread of that happening, but I think it never actually even really came to that.
I'm not even saying with him in general. I'm saying like globally across history, that is a thing that repeats itself so much.
History aside, I just like how the film captures that, all of that ambiguity.
Yeah.
While still being a 100-minute sexy journalism thriller.
Well, also to your point, what I like
it's a pretty darn watchable movie.
Yes.
But it's not a movie where he's going to break the case and fucking save the day. And it's not a movie where he's like the white savior or whatever. Like it doesn't it avoids all these pitfalls.
Like an anti-white savior movie, even though it is obviously placing this guy front and center.
Doesn't feel like it yells at the audience at any point.
But it's why I said the like useful idiot thing is there's this sense of like, as you said, Billy Kwan being like, man, if someone could get through to this guy, he really could help everybody. And he identifies Guy, literally just some white dude named Guy who's handsome and charming, and is like, he might listen to him. If I can load the right ideas into his head and he can go relay them, and he's a better delivery system than maybe I would be, does that affect change?
I find that idea very moving, that this the what's going on globally, politically, what's going on in this country is so far beyond the reach of the characters.
Yes.
They really don't understand quite the world they're operating in. And they basically, one of them dies and the other two run away.
Yeah.
I mean, right,
they get to just live a fucking Hollywood romance.
But I mean, a scene that I love is when they make it through the checkpoint. It's so tense. And then they're laughing. Even though they just witnessed like state murder.
Right.
And I'd probably, because like they're just so exhilarated and they're like, happy to be alive. You wouldn't put that in a Hollywood version of this movie because it makes him look like a jerk or an idiot.
It is begging to be misread, whereas I view that as pointed. And part of that 100%. Is the prism of looking at his other films and the continuity of his viewpoints. I brought it up in other episodes, but there is one of the first things Peter Weir did was he made one of the chapters in an omnibus movie called 3 to Go that was truly like the very beginning of the Australian New Wave. Let's get these kids out of film school and try to make a movie commenting on the youth of Australia. And it's 3 different stories of 3 different characters. And he made one called Michael that is about a upper middle class, kind of very coddled, privileged, kind of well-meaning, liberal, intellectual kid who is fighting or he wants to rebel against his parents and what he views as the safety of their bubble, and wants to get into the shit, and starts entrenching himself in kind of radical politics and radical art, and wanting to feel dangerous and wanting to tell himself that he's not just comfortably sitting in an ivory tower. But it is ultimately an act as an effect. It's him just wanting to rebel against whatever is imposed upon him, even if what is imposed upon him is like immense privilege and security and safety. And it builds to him inviting this radical kind of theater troupe over to his parents' house, mostly to kind of just say fuck you to his parents. And then immediately is hit with like, actually, is this more chaos than I want? And I think it's really interesting as like basically the first extended narrative thing Peter Weir ever made on film, because it feels like it is him very much trying to excoriate the exact person he doesn't want to be.
Sure. Right.
The
sort of cultural tourist. Yeah.
Right. And the guy who gets out when things get a little too messy, who likes to believe that he could get down and dirty and really give everything to the cause.
But what does he do in this? He doesn't do much.
Exactly. That's the difference. Is that
and he's
this guy,
really the first act of the movie, like just kind of circling around. Like he's really not doing anything.
Right. That movie feels right. It feels much more barbed. And the way it is, I think, getting at a somewhat similar thing is much less critical of the character and more critical of the societal systems. And then as you're saying, like the moving part of it for me is Billy Kwan basically understanding that everything boils down to people, that these issues that can feel so humongous and impossible to manage or ever affect change ultimately are swung by 2 people having a conversation, right? And can you get the right 2 people in the right place? Can you get them to align on the same things? Yes.
And so much of the movie's philosophy is contained in that first conversation that Billy and Guy have as Guy is just arriving. And Billy's talking to him about, he talks to him about Tolstoy and, what would you do you help the one person in front of you? How do you help? What then must we do? Which is all pulled straight from the book, by the way, Koch's book. I mean, the dialogue is pulled straight out of the book. And it's really the argument that, or the conversation, I should say, that sits at the center of the film and that we keep coming back to. I mean, like I say, Guy only makes one ethical decision in the movie, and it's arguably the wrong one.
So, okay, the plot of this movie, though. Is
we're still back to the plot.
No, it's fine. We don't have to be, but I'm just trying to think like how it progresses.
I mean, much like Mel Gibson wanting to show people that he is not just an action star and that he can do drama, this is a guy who wants to be boots on the ground, an important photojournalist, video journalist, film journalist, I guess, doing something meaningful, but also he wants to stake his claim as important. He both wants to feel like he is fighting for the right issues and also that he is seen as someone who can tackle issues of weight.
He arrives, he knows nothing. His predecessor has left him nothing, right? Like, so he's kind of like a true babe in the woods. So he meets all the guys. Michael Murphy, love to see that guy.
Always love to see
incredible
Michael Murphy.
face.
Yeah.
What's he? I mean, he's an Altman guy to me. Like,
yeah,
right? Like he's a big Altman guy, but he's
great in
things.
Everything.
Yeah.
And he's a terrific. This is only 2 or 3 years removed from Unmarried Woman, where he's also a son of a bitch. Oh, and Manhattan, a couple of years after Manhattan, where he's also a son of a bitch. He just played
like
this sort of bland, waspish son of a bitch.
Yes,
it is rare to have someone who was that good and that handsome.
Yeah,
basically fully embrace the idea of being a character actor.
Yeah,
right.
Cast strategically to represent the most annoying kind of person.
You know what I've never seen is Shocker,
the
Wes Craven movie that he's the lead of.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered what that is.
But he's the human lead being haunted by the Shocker, right?
I believe that is correct.
Yes.
Is what Mitch Pileggi is the original Shocker? Yes.
Right. He's the man who sends him to the electric chair, and then the man in the electric chair.
Maybe I haven't seen Shocker. It's Wes Craven.
Yeah.
But even like
that sort of weird 80s Craven where he wasn't sure what to do.
He's great as the fucking ineffectual mayor in Batman Returns.
Yep.
He's great in Away from Her. Like he's I just think he is
always good.
Always fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And this is such a perfect use of him.
He became a big narrator. He narrates like any PBS shit. That's Michael Murphy.
Yes.
Anyway. Michael
Still
Murphy's
alive,
there.
by the way.
Still alive? How old is Michael Murphy? I can
Michael
tell
Murphy
you that he's 87 years
young.
Yeah.
He's about to turn 88.
And I think he's the only American. Well, I was about to say he's the only American, except Linda Hunt, of course, is American.
Yeah, right. So. But he's the only American.
Sigourney Weaver's American. He's the only American character. That's what I mean.
Yes, he is the token ugly American, and it's another scene that I think is really telling.
But Sigourney's she's a British diplomat.
Yeah,
right. But she's an American actress. Yeah.
The scene around the table where Michael Murphy is trying to sell Mel Gibson on the sexual tourism of the Philippines, where you're like, okay, but like cut the bullshit. You're not here because you actually care on any humanitarian level. This is a cushy job because they treat you like royalty.
Right.
And the laws are looser.
Your money goes far. You're right.
Right. And then who's the other actor?
His name's Noel Ferrier. Yeah. He's an Australian actor. Who is, you might be unsurprised to learn, had a big like sort of comedy career. Contemporary Barry Humphries, who's a big Australian, who's Dame Edna. Is Barry Humphries? He died. Okay. Died very recently.
Do we get a sense of like what publications, what countries?
These would be like Wire journalists, I would assume, right? Like my dad was a Wire journalist.
Okay.
He worked for UPI. He lived in Vienna. He lived in Beirut. He lived in Rome. Like
hated the Australians.
My dad hated Welsh people. and that is too strong to say that he hated them. It's more that my dad, I would detect in him disdain for the Welsh, where I was like, you grew up so fucking poor in London. Like, what is, what do you have on the Welsh? Nothing. Like, it's like, you're just as like much of a yokel as them, except you grew up in like South London or whatever. But like, but he just kind of had these like, yeah, but they're just so silly. You know what I mean? And I would be like, this is because the Brits conquered them 1,000 years ago.
But this is also tale as old as time. You're all stuck under the same boot, and you point to the other person and go, I think they're the fucking problem.
What was so funny about it. And it wasn't like he was the only one. It's a common thing in Britain that people are like, ha, the Welsh. Like, and it's just, I'm like, they're like 100 miles that away. How different are you? It's like, but no, my dad didn't have an Australian thing. Other British people do. I mean, don't you? I mean, like, have you been to Britain? It's like the Brits, the way they are, is especially with Australians. But any like Canada, New Zealand, America, where they're just like, those guys are kind of Britain Junior. We kind of invented this whole thing.
They're fucking running circles around the British labels in terms of physical media these days.
Well, that's
the Australians are stepping up.
I mean, what is is there a good British like?
Eureka, the BFI. Yeah. Indicator is UK and Radiance is UK.
Radiance is UK.
Yeah.
But like the old Tartan label and all that, right? Sure. Like they're gone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got Imprint and Umbrella and Via Vision.
But I'm just pointing to the time. Let's keep going with the plot.
the scene of them sort of like trying to suss out in Mel Gibson, what is your sexual deviancy? As if the only reason you would take this job is to be able to take advantage, right? And it's like Michael Murphy is basically, I wasn't even going to say coded. He is like, this is a man with like pedophilic inclinations who is like primarily driven by underage girls.
Yes.
And the other guy is like deeply closeted. Right. And
because when Billy's laying it all out at the end, that's what he's poking at all of those sort of unspoken things.
And in that first scene, I think where you're introduced to those guys around the table and they're poking Billy as like, what's your fucking thing? Who are you fucking? What's your fucking deal? And he like stands very firm of like, that is not my relationship with her. They're like, so you're fucking her on the side, right? Why would you talk to her otherwise? And he has this like, you don't understand kind of thing, where it just feels like Billy is a character who is completely grounded in the value of seeing people and seeing the worth of people and the relationship of people to each other in a non-transactional way.
It's why it's so interesting to me to learn that the book character is less pleasant. But I guess, Because like to me, it's like, right, they invest the morality in the movie in Billy.
Because this character is very strategic, but not in a devious way.
Yeah, I'd be like, fine, manipulate me. Oh, no, you made me fall in love with Sigourney Weaver. Oh, this sucks.
Yeah, that would suck.
Oh, fuck.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Oh, no, what do I do?
Yeah.
So Billy nudges Guy towards Jill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Bill nudges Jill towards Guy as well, right? Like there's all this sort of subtle manipulation going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
also lets Guy know that he can give him access to the president in exchange for agreeing to make Billy his exclusive cameraman. That is framed originally as just, you do all that for me. And it's like, look, I just want steady work, which of course is not.
I don't think it's the president. I think it's the leader of the Communist Party.
I'm sorry. Correct.
That's right.
Yes. But who does later, historically, did become the first president.
No, so
am I wrong about this?
No, Sukarno is the
right.
president of Indonesia at the time.
Yes.
Sukarno is eventually related, but so what happens is there's a communist, not revolution exactly, but like there's communist fighting. Tracy, I'm looking at you because you know everything about this. I assume you know more about this than I do, but there's communist fighting.
Sukarno was the first president.
Yes, the military led by Suharto uses that as an excuse to completely wipe out the communists and all opposition.
That's right.
And then eventually kick out Sukarno. Suharto becomes the president of Indonesia for 35 years or whatever until death. No, not until death. Right. There in the 90s, it's like the economy gets bad and it's finally his time to go. I listened to this podcast called Revolutions by Mike Duncan. I highly recommend it to everyone. It's well known, where he goes through every single revolution that's ever happened. It's just him talking. It just tells you. I'm on Mexico right now. And it's just always so interesting how it's always the same fucking mistakes. The guys just stay a little too long. And it's like, hey, you're getting old. Do you want to like pick a successor? And he's like, well, if I pick a successor, then you'll try to get rid of me. It's like, it's like
they become
you started
paranoid.
the relationship by cheating on someone. Then you're like, I think you're going to cheat on me. Like the whole, like, right. They can't.
Yeah. And Sukarno was kind of laying the groundwork for the communist uprising that was eventually put down. One of the ways he did this was with a speech in which he spoke about living dangerously.
Correct.
That's where the title comes from, which is never referenced in the film. It's referenced in the book.
Right.
Straight off the bat. But
vivere pericoloso.
Well said.
Like he gave the speech during like an anniversary of their independence. I know it was about a year before the coup. But did he want this coup to happen the way it happened? Like, no, right? Like the 30s. This is the thing that's all sort of.
So you started to get in the weeds here, and it's like I'm lost.
I'm lost
again. Seeing it in 1983, I couldn't have found Indonesia on a map.
Sure,
right?
That didn't matter. Like
it didn't matter.
The film effect. But what spoke to you about the film then? I guess, apart from just they're kind of rock.
Well, again, the stranger in a strange land aspect of it, the quality of the performances, the love story that you talk about. The scene where he goes into the embassy party and then she comes and she gets in the car with him, and we start to play the Vangelis song is just the hottest scene. It's really unbelievably hot.
They're really like peak. Handsome, the two, like Gibson and Weaver.
Well,
it's
they're
crazy.
not only physically attractive, but they're such good actors, and they play that desire so effectively.
They don't even speak that much to each other.
But then there's also the sort of loaded mystery of like, is there a secret layer to this relationship? Are you gaming me a little bit? Is that which just kind of makes it harder?
Yeah,
and
the filmmaking. I mean, I suppose with Picnic at Hanging Rock, he had established that he was a great filmmaker.
Sure.
But I just watched The Stuntman last night, and
I saw you bemoaning. Who's the director?
Richard Rush.
Richard Rush. You're like, why did this guy? Why did this guy never make another great film?
Yeah,
that's one of my dad's.
So it's like, what is going to be? How are we going to know that Peter Weir is really that guy? And I think Year of Living Dangerously, it's very apparent that he is that guy. That scene where the British journalist says, I've taken a bungalow. And then we cut from there to the guys having a kind of rickshaw or tuk-tuk.
He takes about
race
5
down
minutes
the
to
street.
say, I've taken a bungalow.
Yeah, right.
He does a lot of sort of purple preamble too, but yes.
And then the music choices and the tuk-tuk race that takes us into the bungalow, and then the whole bungalow sequence in which we hear very little of the dialogue being spoken, but so much of the sexual tension between Sigourney Weaver and Mel Gibson is playing out through the dance, the Jerry Lee Lewis music, all of that. Just the way all of that is put together is really masterful filmmaking, I think.
In a really unshowy way, he has such an incredible command of like the music of cinema in the sense of the magic you can get when you just have every element of this art form working in tandem. And you're not doing anything really gimmicky or flashy, but it is just the camera and the editing and the performances and the language and the literal music, the blocking, the framing, the art direction, everything. You know, it's like subtle magic trick shit. You know, it just feels like he's always doing like close-up magic that is very skillful in making these things just flow so organically and be so. His movies are weirdly seductive even when they are not sexually charged.
But he never made a sexually charged movie up until now.
This is his horniest movie.
Yeah,
I would argue Picnic at Hanging Rock is very sexually charged, but
yes, that's
with
true.
But
it's
the threat of sexual
and
violence.
Exactly. And it's
Yes.
mysterious. And like, I mean, it's just at the time, especially imagine if you had you seen other Weir movies when this came out? Probably not, right? Like, imagine being like, okay, what did the guy who made Picnic and Hanging Rock in The Last Wave and Gallipoli make next?
Yeah.
I guess this has a little bit of a handshake with Gallipoli.
Yeah. And the Mel, especially. But
Yeah,
this idea
right,
of
it
now
does.
we're going to start digging in. Yeah.
And like, let's tell us, like, Gallipoli and this both tell like human stories of like intimate relationships in a grand setting, like, you know, where there's a big thing playing out in the background.
And I just find it ultimately just really transporting. When the movie starts, I'm in a different era. There's even something about the way the credits look, the way the credit sequence
Over
is shot.
the shadow puppets.
Yes,
Yeah.
it feels of another time.
Yeah.
Very effectively transporting me to a different time and place. And I love that.
Our friend Bobby Finger, past and future guest, I was looking at all the letterbox logs for this movie. He used the term meandering as a positive, which I'm like, that is a good way of putting.
I also
The Weir movies
it's the
feel like
mood it
they're
should
very
have.
much on their own time zone.
Sure,
They're
yeah.
working at their own pace and they lull you into what they're doing.
but it's the mood it should have because it's like that until it's not. And then
Yes,
when everything's
yes.
going down, it makes the shock of that so much stronger. And then the death of Billy so much more like, you know, unbearable.
It is also the thing I'm almost most allergic to in historical films or films about important political issues is characters who are so aware of the importance of what they are doing in every line, in every gesture, and filmmaking that is just focused on communicating that to you. The stakes of the importance in a way that is not representative of what it feels to live, to be a person. Even when you are in the most extreme circumstances imaginable, you are not burdened with the weight of importance of what you're doing and how it's going to be studied.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think you're right about that. I think, you know, if Woodward and Bernstein were sitting around and all the president's men saying, you know, this is the future of, you know,
fucking fate of democracy rests on our shoulders.
you know,
Yes.
but instead they're saying, I got to go and talk to that lady and see if I can get her on the red. You know,
it's what's most well judged about that movie is the amount of time that's them just being like, she didn't pick up. You know?
right.
That you're not just seeing the important things and that they don't immediately have the full picture.
The first time I saw that movie when I was a teenager or whatever, and it ends with them publishing,
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, this isn't the Watergate movie about like
Right.
where they get fucking Nixon and like the last half of it is like Congress and, you know, testimonies and like, oh, they erased the tapes and all. Like, it's like none of that's in the movie.
No, it's
like,
literally just a movie about getting that story.
it's such a good movie.
Rolls.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Good 4K. You got that 4K?
Oh, hell yeah.
Talk about a good image.
Is Pakula up or down? Is he like,
What do you mean?
Back in, because like I feel like for a while
David,
he wasn't
we bounced
taken
him
as
off of March
seriously.
Madness. He was in the potential bucket for the losers bracket this
He's
year.
a great.
I don't know. I
And
don't
you
know
said
what.
you
Yeah,
felt
I've
he
heard
was a
you
little
reference
down.
this. I don't know what this is.
Every March we do 32 directors, a daily vote,
a bracket, like a
Who's voting?
our listeners,
are
and we
crazy as
we
well.
let them dictate one piece of programming a year.
But where do they go to vote?
Well, it
Oh,
used
it's
to
on
be
our
on
website.
Twitter, which I don't know if you've heard is doing really well right now. Is a normal place to have civil discussions, and now we do it on our own website.
On
Yeah,
your
do it on
Yeah.
our website.
Yeah.
You can go vote. I'll vote for you right now. Wes Anderson or Preston Sturgis?
Preston Sturgis.
My
Obviously,
man.
correct answer.
Yeah.
No offense to Wes, who is a great,
No offense.
great guy.
Yeah.
Wes would vote for Preston
Wes
Sturgis.
would vote for
He would
Preston.
vote in a second.
Yes, but you had said you were like, is Pakula too many films? Is he a little down?
No, it's a very great, interesting filmography. I mean, the latter half of his career is a little less sexy, but
It's what's interesting to us when we try to cultivate and curate who's going to be on the bracket each year is
But you guys already know. You've got this thing planned out for the next 5
we're
years.
crazy.
okay, somewhat.
About a year and a half.
But we leave
but
gaps
one
to
director
let this
gets
one
picked by
thing-
the fans.
Right.
One director
Whoever
per year.
wins this March Madness thing will just go on the
For a
schedule.
whole series?
Yes.
The fans pick a whole series?
Correct.
Yeah.
Who's the last director they picked?
The last
The
director,
Coen brothers.
the Coen brothers.
Poor us.
Right. So it was like
They usually
Oh.
pick someone cool.
5
Oh,
months,
that's
but it
good.
was a good fucking 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right now, it's Scorsese.
Scorsese, Milos Forman.
You haven't done Scorsese yet.
No.
No, because it's a very hefty ask.
Oh,
So
right.
that's a little bit of us being like to the fans, like, are you cool with essentially sort of a half a year on this guy?
Oh, right.
Which is like, it's fine. I mean, it's Martin Scorsese.
Weir's like the size that is perfect for us. If you got like,
How about Charles Lawton?
I mean,
he's pretty easy. Just knock it out.
sometimes if there's like a guest being floated who might be tough in terms of scheduling, we'll throw out, is there a one film filmography you want to cover? Because we know we could just slot that in anywhere. And so long we've always kind of kept on the table as like, is anyone ever going to try to claim that?
Pretty good movie.
Pretty fucking excellent movie.
Pretty good movie.
But yes.
You worked with you've worked with multiple blank check. You've worked with Catherine Bigelow,
I have.
who we've covered on it. I'm trying to think
Yes.
of like who else.
Yeah, you
Tracy
guys
might have
shit
worked
all
with.
over my movie. What?
I'm sorry.
Hey.
You were a little more positive
Thank you.
than the other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who,
I made a joke about you being
I am what I
terrified
am.
that you had a physical media
I like that you
basement
shouted out Lindor.
that was going to get bombed. Yeah.
Who's the other? Marie? Is that her
Marie,
name?
our social media.
She's on my shit list. She's
person.
completely on
Marie's
my
going to be
shit
thrilled to
list.
hear this.
Because
obviously we covered the post way back when.
Yes.
and
which you're in.
now, hold on, I'm not done talking
Okay,
about
okay.
Marie.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Yeah.
So Marie, she says at one point, she said, "Well, I missed this vital part of the movie because I had just happened to look away from the screen for a minute." It's like, happened to look away? Who happens to look? You don't know how to watch a movie, because I know what that means. It means she's looking at her fucking phone, which means she doesn't know how to watch a movie,
Mhm.
and she's totally on my shit list.
Well, she's on right, Marie. You have
Marie,
to
you're in
earn
trouble.
Tracy's. You have to earn Tracy's respect back,
I'm
or his
looking-
trust.
I'm looking here, like Adam McKay,
Yeah, I've
Todd
worked for that.
Solondz.
Sure.
I'm like, these are people where they're
You
like
did-
major
you-
directors, but we haven't done them, and
Oh,
I don't know
I
if
see.
we would.
All right.
But we covered the post.
Yeah. Were you
in
kind to the
which-
post? I haven't seen it.
I love that film. We were very high on it in the moment because it was a new release, so we were very excited by it. I have not revisited that film, but I like that film.
We really don't have to do my filmography.
No,
but
I'm just-
I'm just trying to see if there are other directors that we've covered, but those are the two, I think.
Catherine and Stephen.
Yes. And then we
Two
covered Ghostbusters Afterlife. Of course, you're the main character in that.
That was a favor. I don't mind saying that. I mean, I would say that
Yes.
if Jason were here.
You were around.
The truth is that Mike Judge was supposed to play that part.
Oh,
That's
really?
so funny.
He was supposed to play the part, and for some reason,
was-
at the last minute, there
Wow.
was a scheduling problem.
Yeah.
And Jason, we're in Calgary, where
Yeah.
Carrie's shooting the movie. And
you were
Jason's like,
already there.
I was there with my
Yeah.
wife and kids while she was working on the movie. And Jason's like, wow, if only we could think of somebody from Oklahoma who could do a scene
Might
with
have some
Carrie
sense.
Good. So that's how I wound up in that. But
Fair enough.
you've not done Jason on the...
No,
No,
we
we
did
did Ghostbusters
on our
as a
Patreon.
franchise
We watched
on
the
our Patreon.
Ghostbusters.
So you got
movies.
to work with Muncher. A bunch of like Ghost and Ghostbusters.
Okay.
A blue guy. He's
Again, just
metal.
being mindful of timing.
Yeah,
we should wrap up
like,
soon.
Try and maybe just hit a couple more major points in the plot. Griffin, you were referencing like Mel's character being aware of living through a major event.
No, not being burdened with that self-importance. That he is kind of, not solipsistically, but he is primarily just going, okay, let me figure out the lay of the land. What is like, who are the pieces on the board? And how do I take the right side?
But
he's
really,
not thinking about the impact he has. He's just trying to build a good career starting from that point.
Where I'm trying to steer us is that Jill passes him info and that the Chinese communists are about to arm the PKI, which is the local communist party.
Right.
And he makes the decision that we've been saying throughout, the ethical decision that's really not the right one.
Ben, we haven't heard what you think about Year of Living Dangerously.
I had never seen it before.
Oh.
And I really, really loved it. It really resonated with me. I have such romanticism for this kind of life of like a journalist living abroad, living hard, smoking cigs, drinking, hanging out at bars.
You've lived dangerously most years of your life.
I would say I have a past and I, still think about those times fondly. And glad I made it out. But yeah, this movie was just such a joy to watch.
Great. I'm glad to hear that because I feel like, obviously this is my presence here on your show is endorsement of the Year of Living Dangerously.
I mean, you could always come on to discuss a film you don't think works. Like it's fun to talk about movies that don't work or that are, outright failures like that. That can be kind of fun too.
Can I share? It made me feel like I was able to live in a Tom Waits song.
Nice.
That is well put.
This is just like, that's the thing with a Tom Waits song. Like, this is just not my climate. I just, it's just,
a Tom Waits song is not your climate, or
because Tom Waits is, the sort of the bayou, and this is kind of like the, the same thing. The air is just too wet for me. Like, I would just be struggling.
Yeah,
I can't be in this sort of jungly.
This is a damp movie.
Yes, I love the beach. Baby. I love the water.
Yeah,
like that. That's sort of. I know I would suffer very hard.
They let the actors sweat, right?
They do. It's part of the sexiness. It's part of the so the decision at Red, it's basically Jill's like, hey, this shit's about to go down. You got to get out. And he's like, aren't I a fucking journalist? Like, right? He does the one kind of journalistic thing. He's like, I'm going to, publish this news.
But it's selfish because he's like, this is my big story, right? Like, it's part of his motivation.
You're right that it's a little bit of him being a hot dogging, right, kind of guy.
Yeah.
You're right.
But everyone else is like manipulating him towards positive ends. They are sort of driving him as a vehicle in the right direction because I think they all identify. I was thinking a little bit of this movie in relation to broadcast news, which is obviously so much about completely excoriating the William Hurt character. But there's certain commonalities between these two of just like, oh my God, here's just a guy with the right shoulders and the right eyes and the right voice and the steady hand. He is so dangerous if he does not have a moral compass installed in him or the wrong people get a hold of him. Because immediately is this understanding of whatever this guy communicates to the public is going to be heard. He is like a human printing machine for the legend.
Right. Yes.
Right.
I just love too, he's a radio journalist. Like I love hearing him deliver the news.
Yes.
That it's not just that he's writing the pieces.
That scene's so good too when he's doing the broadcast and he can't stop sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The character Kumar we haven't really talked about, but sort of a vital character in the last act of the film. His driver.
His the fact that he is PKI, which is revealed late in the film,
right,
is so obvious.
Yes.
When you watch the movie, the second it was like, oh shit! How many times does Peter Weir show him sort of giving side eye to the other woman who works in the office? Or I mean, clearly he's. It's like everybody knows it, but Mel Gibson.
But that's what I love about this is like you kind of buy that Gibson is just he's not dumb, but he's just too innocent to really understand, like, the die has sort of been cast.
Well, that's also
like I've arrived at a situation that is already wrapping up, and I'm just like here to have fun and learn things.
It's the other thing that reminded me of broadcast news, where you're just sort of like, there is this cultural reckoning with, has the media become something that is now out of our control? You know, it has gained too much power. We have given it to a medium we don't quite understand, where the values can be completely thrown out of whack based on things like watchability, you know, and the
answer to that is yes.
Yes. And that, you know, there's this attitude of William Hurt's more aware that he's part of the problem, but he's sort of like, if not me, then who? Someone else is going to do it, right?
And he's right.
I'm not the one who created this situation.
You know, with some years, you can look at it and go, oh, actually, if it's not William Hurt, it's going to be another William Hurt.
Totally.
Right?
And the other part of it is, for better or worse, this guy projects intelligence. Whether or not he has intelligence is irrelevant. Whether or not he understands the situation is irrelevant. It is that no one will listen to Billy Kwan, and people will listen to Sigourney Weaver even less, despite being a mega babe movie star, because she is a female diplomat.
That's right.
Right. And this guy is going to be able to, he's a megaphone. He's going to be heard.
He's the best kind of character.
Yeah.
Smart enough to know that what he wants isn't going to happen, but still like a little bit of can't dodge the true believer thing. I'm like, but what if you fed your people, or what if you helped, you know, in the way I know you want to, or you could, or what, you know, and it's such a great, you know,
again, the third man,
yes,
Holly Martins,
100%.
Right? Holly Martins goes through the same crisis over the course of the film. Not understanding the situation he's in, having the situation explained to him, still doesn't get it, has to see the situation played out in front of him to sort of start to grasp just what the stakes are.
It is what I also find fascinating about like the possible queer reading of this movie and the Billy Kwan character is there is a notion of, is Billy Kwan someone who was born biologically female, who has adapted the persona of a male, whether through like a genuine expression of gender identity or a strategic means to an end to be taken seriously and to be able to power these things? I think there is like a queerness that Linda Hunt plays. And in this interview I read where she made the super persona comment, she said that was a deliberate, thoughtful thing in her mind. That she was not like, clearly I am playing this role like a cross-dresser. But I think it's part of what's fascinating about this performance is it doesn't just feel like, well, this is like a stylistic kind of flourish that you just suspension of disbelief by this performance. There is even I think in how every scene is played, the other characters kind of eyeballing Billy and going, what's going on here?
What is the deal? And
part of that is that Billy holds his cards close to his chest. But part of that also is like, that's the haircut? What's, you know, like everything's a little, no one has really looked or sounded like this.
Death of Billy, very sad. And just like, that's really, of course, like, I mean, do you buy that? I don't really think that Guy's in danger as much as Guy is in real danger after that and gets through the blockades and gets to the airport. But you are like, right. But the loss already happened. I mean, I guess Guy's eye gets fucked up.
Well, and he has to navigate it without any help from Billy, right? It's not just Billy's death, but that he doesn't have an advocate.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And what he has to navigate is how do I get the fuck out of Dodge?
Right.
Like,
and then
I'm in over my head.
There is like, it's not like, I'm going to expose this. I'm going to.
Right.
Oh, I just watched the government murder a journalist. Like, and it says like, where's the fucking airport?
But it's so silly that he goes to the palace and the way he conducts himself.
Right.
It's like, clearly he's not thinking in his right mind because he's upset, but also he doesn't have Billy to guide him anymore.
Yeah. Right. That's not going to work.
Well, he's also got the presumption of a white guy. It's
like they wouldn't dare kill me, right? You know.
And there's something so kind of like undignified about Billy's death, right? And even the way it is shown on screen, that we get the moment of the breaking through the door and Billy's reaction, and then we're mostly seeing just the body lying on the ground afterwards once Guy comes to the scene.
And Guy later says when they're cleaning up Billy's stuff that Sukarno didn't even see the banner.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Tragic.
But it's not some epic sacrifice moment.
Right.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not effective.
Yeah, it's a dumb, pointless, but you understand the motivation, the sort of like, the desire to just do something.
And Billy's so distraught because he's been giving money to that family, and that young boy gets sick and passes away. And I think that just like really pushes them over the edge.
Yes. And it's like it's the dehumanization.
Yeah.
It is these are not chess pieces, these are human beings.
We should play the box office game. I think.
You're going straight from...
I think so. I mean, is there anything else we want to say about the film? I'm trying to bring the plane in here. I don't want to.
I think we haven't paid enough attention to Maurice Jarre and
incredible work. Yeah.
Vangelis, who the song is credited in the closing credits, but Vangelis himself is not name checked. So you would almost think that song is written by
Maurice,
and it's not.
Yeah.
It's the classic, like Peter Weir would just have like a collection of tapes. He would play music all the time.
All the American rock and roll pop music is really like, it's just fun to have Tutti Frutti in this movie.
He just liked that little song he uses and uses it twice, obviously. Apart from that, it's Maurice.
Mm-hmm. Uses it twice, very close together, by the way. It's sort of unorthodox the way he uses it. Also, Russell Boyd,
his guy. I mean, and to be clear about Jarre then goes to Hollywood, does Witness, does Mosquito Coast, does Dead Poets, like becomes
this
Weird,
is really the key team that he carries over.
Right.
Yeah.
Russell Boyd, the legend, like who is, at Picnicking Hanging Rock, like when they have no money, figuring out all these innovative ways to like make the air feel magical, essentially, and all that. He's such an incredible DP. He's still alive.
More still working, I think.
He hasn't really worked much since Weir retired.
Oh,
yeah,
right?
His last credit is The Way Back.
Yeah, and before that, of course, Ghost Rider.
He did shoot Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. Yes.
Why is this movie not on 4K? Well, I guess we already talked about this. It's almost certainly
it's probably
a rights issue.
thing, but it is odd that no one's leapt to figure it out. Given the Oscar,
it's worthy of restoration.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's worthy of conversation, right? If doesn't it provide an opportunity to revisit this question of casting, the question of politics, and it would seem to me that a new release would provide the opportunity to further that discussion.
To go hard, I think that's why also MGM or whoever has fucking access to MGM home video now through Amazon, maybe Sony, isn't going to just be like, just like put that one out with a theatrical trailer. I think there's a worry about just giving it the kind of release that Gallipoli got from Paramount, which is just like, we put it on a disc. Are you happy? Versus this is a movie that needs to be like, have a thoughtfully curated extras package of dialogue around it and context provided. So I don't know, one of the specialty labels needs to step up.
Yeah. So this film came out. Do you know about the box office game?
I've heard you guys play the box office game. I intentionally did not do any investigation because I want to play legit.
An honest player.
So this film came out limited release January 21st, 1983.
Wow.
So the year I graduated high school.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So
that's as far as my education went, but nevertheless.
Where'd you go to high school?
Durant High School in Durant, Oklahoma.
Hell yeah.
So it is obviously it's limited release, so it's not in the top 5. Number 1, it's a lot of holdovers, I would say, from the 82 season.
Yeah.
Number 1 is a big Oscar-winning movie of 1982, a comedy classic.
But it wasn't the big... What's Tootsie?
It's Tootsie.
It's Tootsie. Because Tootsie was a December release?
Tootsie came out in December 82.
Massive box office. Unbelievable box office.
And in my past of trying to memorize box office charts and such, it does just feel like the first 4 to 6 months of 1983 are ruled by Tootsie. Until E.T. comes
I assume
around.
you saw Tootsie at the time.
I did.
Or no, E.T. came out before.
In a packed movie theater.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy Tootsie?
I loved it.
Have you thought about Tootsie lately?
Now
I feel like I'm like a psychiatrist.
I selected it.
Is Tootsie in the room with us?
We did a 1982 movie draft on the big picture, and
right.
I selected Tootsie.
I listened to it. Yes. A film I've only seen once,
Really?
maybe twice.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed, but I have not seen in years.
Which, what? Tootsie?
Tootsie.
Oh, worthy of revisit.
Yeah, I'll revisit it.
Criterion edition, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Tootsie's number one.
Tootsie number one.
What's Tootsie up to?
Well, it's only been out for a few weeks, but it has made, it's made $81 million.
I think it at the time was one of the 10 highest grossing films in American history.
All right. Yeah. So number 2 is an action film that had come out earlier in December.
Okay.
Gigantic breakout hit for one of its stars.
For one of its stars.
I mean, the other guy is...
It's a two-hander, primarily?
It's a two-hander. I mean, the other guy's a little bit more of a name. I guess it's sort of a breakout for both of them. But especially for the supporting.
For
the real...
one guy was already more established, but the less established guy really kind of popped on this one.
Becomes the most famous actor of the 80s.
Action comedy?
Yes, very much.
It's
48 hours.
Oh, well, yes.
Walter Hill's 48 Hours.
Yes.
Like Nolte at that point, he's not nobody.
No, he's a big deal.
At all.
But you know,
he's an
still up and
established
coming. Yeah,
star.
right. Yeah.
And Eddie Murphy is 21
Eddie
years
Murphy
old.
is but a child, essentially.
He's so fucking
so those are, I mean, like, so obviously those are like sort of, it's like basically, do you want to go see, you know, this kind of comedy or that kind of comedy? Like they're just kings of the box office. Number 3 is, I mean, and now I'm thinking about the 1982 draft that you did. Certainly one of my favorites of 82. Probably not my number one favorite, but one of your favorite directors. You know, certainly was nominated for many Oscars. Big drama.
It's a big
Gandhi.
Not Gandhi, but I can tell you that Gandhi is number 4.
Is it a Lumet?
It is a Sidney Lumet movie.
Is a Sidney Lumet movie?
The Verdict.
It's The Verdict.
Hell yes.
So
I think I got that in the legal draft on Big Picture. If we're just all reminding people of our past draft.
I got The Verdict. I got The Verdict.
You got The Verdict?
Absolutely. That was my number 1. I think so. I can try to look it up. But The Verdict is the best.
I got The Verdict in the 82 draft.
The best.
Why do I feel like...
I'm going to look it up, Griff.
Oh, because I took 12 Angry Men?
I don't know.
I feel like I had
this?
first
You guys
round
did a legal draft?
We did a lawyer movie draft. I got... This is lawyer movie. So it's drama, comedy, thriller, Oscar winner, movie lawyer that you would want to represent you.
Oh, nice.
And then John Grisham was its own category. And I got The Verdict, Intolerable Cruelty, The Devil's Advocate, Chicago, The Firm, and Atticus Finch. Not bad. You got Bridge of Spies, Legally Blonde, Michael Clayton, Philadelphia, The Rainmaker, and Grisham. And then you picked Stanley Tucci in Spotlight as your lawyer.
Oh, nice.
That's what I knew that I had first round pick. And I was like, what would I have gone for over The Verdict? And the answer was, I knew it was going to be a feeding frenzy for Michael Clayton.
You got Michael Clayton.
I had to get Michael Clayton.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. The Verdict. So number 4 is Gandhi. What's your take on, of course, the Best Picture winner? It's about to be the Best Picture winner. Gandhi.
What about it?
You a big fan?
No, it's kind of...
I feel like you guys all kind of shat on Gandhi.
We didn't.
In the 82 draft. No, maybe
they shat on it more than I did.
Right.
It was important in the moment, and Kingsley was undeniable.
Kingsley's unbelievable in it. I think Gandhi is, you know, it's not one of the great movies of 82, but it gets a slightly bad rap. It's very watchable. It's like
still
pretty
have
good.
Never seen it.
Yeah.
I have it in that big Columbia Classics box set. And I'm just like, when am I in the mood to just throw on 3 hours of Gandhi?
Let me tell you, well, Kingsley really elevates it.
Sure.
I mean, there really is a way on board with that movie. But also, to see 100,000 extras.
That's why it's just unimaginable.
You'll
scale.
never see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all right. I mean, you know, it's not incredible. It's got all the flaws you'd think it has. Number 5 is a real Griffin movie.
It's a real Griffin movie. Is it an 82 holdover or an 83 release?
It's an 82 holdover. A fantasy film.
It's a fantasy film. It's like one of my favorites, or is it just my type of thing?
I'm sure you love
it. It is The Dark Crystal.
There you go.
Yeah, I like it quite a bit.
My son's favorite movie.
Wow, there you go.
Most watched movie in our house. Would be The
Scary.
Dark Crystal. He loves
Spooky,
it.
scary.
He loves it.
Can I tell you the movie I almost bought as one of the 3, and I actually just could not physically locate a copy in time? But if you have not watched it with your son yet, I highly recommend. Have you guys done Paranorman?
He got scared by, is it called Coraline?
Yes.
Yeah.
He got scared by Coraline.
Interesting.
Yeah, Coraline's scary.
And so we haven't gone
other
back
mother.
into, he likes box trolls.
And I noticed you had
Box
done
Trolls
James and the
also-
Giant Peach as
Yeah, a
little
well.
scary.
Yeah.
Box Trolls is the guy who eats the cheese and his face trans.
Ben Kingsley.
That's
he's
right. It's Ben
really
Kingsley.
fucking good.
He's good, but it's very freaky.
Yes.
Yes.
Paranorman is about fear.
Yeah.
It is
Paranorman's
like
good.
reckoning with fear, and I think it is one of the better dramatizations of fear mongering I have ever seen.
We
Period.
have it on the shelf, I think in
Okay.
a steel box.
Okay. So if I had gotten it for you, I would have fucking struck
There
out
you
on
go.
that one. Okay, I chose right.
I'll tell you the rest of the top 10. Number 6 is The Toy, the Richard Donner film with Pryor and Gleason.
A
That is a
remake
bomb.
of a French.
Yeah, that's right.
film.
Perfect
Le
politics.
Jouet.
Yeah.
Oh, does that have perfect politics? I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
Jackie Gleason buys a black man and hands him to his son and says, "Have fun."
Another Oscar. So that's a December 82 release
Yeah.
that didn't really translate. Another
That
future
was
Oscar
a
winner.
pretty big hit, though. Not at the same scale of Tootsie in 48
Yeah,
hours.
it
but it was a
made
hit.
47 million. That was pretty good. Sophie's Choice.
Sure.
Which is, is okay. I don't know what you feel about Sophie's Choice.
Haven't seen it since
Since like 82.
Well, I've seen it since then. It was on cable a lot.
Right.
I recall it being pretty good.
Yeah.
Peter McNichol's fantastic in
He's
that thing.
such a good actor. I love him.
His career is fascinating when you zoom out.
Right.
How
Well,
many
just
times
when you discover him later in life
Right.
and you're like, okay, so how did this guy get started? And you're like, Sophie's Choice is not what you would expect. Number 8 is Best Friends. The Burt
Reynolds, Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn.
Valerie Curtin screenplay.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
Valerie Curtin wrote it with Barry Levinson,
Yeah.
and it's based on their friendship.
Right.
So is it a sort of like they're like
It's a bittersweet.
Platonic.
It's a When Harry Met Sally.
right.
Yeah.
Directed by Norman Jewison. I've never seen it.
No, me neither.
It's not great.
Sure, fair enough. Number 9 is E.T. Big one.
Big movie.
And then number 10 is The Man from Snowy River. What is this?
Australian film.
Really?
Directed
Never
by
heard of it.
George Miller. Not that George Miller.
T. Miller.
Yeah.
Wow. Who also directed The Neverending Story 2.
Yes. Australian Western.
Griffin was offered Crocodile Dundee and had to turn it down.
I can't believe it cracked the top 10 at the box office.
It's opening at number 10, so not amazing.
But
here.
look, it's
Kirk
what,
Douglas?
it's what we were saying. The Australian kind of like Australian fever is
Kirk
cracking.
Douglas in dual roles as brothers Harrison and Spur.
Man from Snowy River is good. I give that a thumbs up.
Right.
Oh.
And it even got a sequel, Man from Snowy River 2.
What's the physical media report on Man from Snowy River? What are we looking at?
I don't think I own it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's see.
So you have to sort of dutifully like log, like, because the database thing, what's it, CLZ or whatever
Yeah.
it's called. It's like, my problem is I'm always like, did I put this in her? Like where you do this little barcode scanning.
Yeah.
But every day I assume another pallet arrives. You're opening them up.
It's my full-time job. It's my job.
Like, has an Amazon driver or anyone like that ever said to you, like, you have a lot of fucking DVDs, buddy?
I gotta say, I live in a doorman
Amazon
building.
driver has never said that to me. My wife says it too.
Well, no, sure.
I live in a doorman
wife
building,
too.
humble brag.
Congratulations.
And it does feel like every time I pick up a package, they're like, got a lot of stuff shipped to you.
Don't you live in
How
a
many do you have?
one-bedroom?
How many discs?
I think I'm probably around 1,000, but I'm not dutifully logging. I should.
How do you store them? Like, do you have shelves? I mean, I don't really know.
I have shelves that I have outgrown. There are now pillars of vertically stacked discs, like the books in Ghostbusters.
This is my problem. Is
I
like
also
I
have too many discs in storage.
a very
as well.
well arranged
Yeah.
like shelving situation, but
Yes.
it's full.
Yeah.
And so now the new stuff arrives, and I'm like, well, I'll
Yeah.
figure this out.
That is
Pile it
exactly
up.
where I'm at. I now just have like a shelving unit that is full and then a corner where discs live.
Yeah.
And I'm in between. I'm waiting on the new shelving.
I'm watching
unit
those
to arrive.
Bud Boddicker westerns right now. That Criterion, is that what that's how you say it?
We did
The tall T and all
The
the
Renown Westerns? Is that
Renown
what they're
Westerns,
called?
right? Yeah.
Carrie and I did every one of them. We did like one a week for 5 weeks.
How are they?
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Every one of them. They're
I'm
great.
I'm really liking the sort of like, I just have to watch my discs because then it's sort of like the choice is out of my hands. Like, I'm not going to agonize over.
This is why Carrie wants me. This is why I pick the movie every night.
Right. Like, I don't want to choose. I don't want to scroll
She's
through
like, I don't want to
carousels.
think. She's like, the shelves intimidate me. The streaming tiles, I can't make heads or tails of it. You pick, you put it on, no bitching. Obviously, she's got veto power. I think the entire time we've been together, she's vetoed 2 movies.
What are the 2 vetoes?
Or is it a secret?
One of them was a movie with Kate Blanchett and Judy
Notes on a Scandal.
Notes on a Scandal.
Good movie.
I hadn't seen it. I put it on and Carrie said, I've seen this and I remember it.
Okay. So it was just a been there, done that.
That was one veto.
Yeah.
Parliament
Hill. I don't remember
classic.
Something else.
Notes on a
like
Scandal is a Parliament Hill classic.
A Parliament Hill classic. What does that mean?
There's a lot of scenes set at Parliament Hill, which is a park I used to
okay.
go to.
But no, she doesn't veto. She watch, and she doesn't blame me when the movie is bad.
Right.
Does she ever tap out?
She never taps out.
She never taps out.
Sometimes it's hard to keep her awake because she gets up early.
But that's napping out.
There's
not
a lot of
like
young children, like me making her sit up and I scratch her back while we finish the movie.
But your kids do a good bedtime? This is the biggest thing in my life.
My kids are pretty good with the bedtime.
All right, good for them.
And now occasionally I'll put on a movie that I've seen that I like and she watches it and she's like, what the fuck?
Sure. All right.
The Brood. There's still, this is a conversation in our house still. She's like, what the fuck?
That movie rocks. But I mean, it is certainly, you got to be in the right mood for it. And it's such a poisonously angry movie.
Yes.
Which I love.
Yes.
And I know it's his like divorce movie and it's, that movie rocks. But yeah.
I want to make sure I said everything I have to say. I wanted to bitch about Marie.
Noted. She'll wear it as a badge of honor.
I wanted to say, the big picture, right? The big, it's questionable whether or not I'm big picture or blank check.
Well, can we get a head? Can we get a cartoon likeness of you to wear on that desk and tell people they're sitting at Tracy's desk? We're allowing you to sit at Tracy's desk today.
Right. We're not possessive like Sean.
We're not.
So this is a very free and open environment. Sean's a little bit more with the chairs and the committees and the, all this stuff.
Loosey-goosey, but also I have airdropped a contract over to you if you want to look it over. There's potentially a 5-year first look deal on the table. Non-exclusive, but first look.
I was surprised that you guys had guests come back. I didn't realize that till I listened to somebody recently, and you're like, "Oh, they came back." So I want to look at your lists. I want to see.
Dictated by March Madness. It's
Tracy,
the next.
We'd love to have you on any time. I don't know if you know this, but you're quite an estimable person, so we don't want to just like bug you all the time. But we'd love to have you back.
I don't feel like that, but that's all well and good.
Right.
The last thing I want to say is that Year of Living Dangerously. So I showed it to Carrie years ago. Again, I didn't know the other things we wanted to talk. Did we want to cover Star Wars or did we want to cover Godfather?
Say what you're going to say and then Star Wars.
Okay, so
2 minutes on Star Wars.
2.
So Carrie doesn't remember the movies. I showed her Year of Living Dangerously a few years ago. She had no recollection of it. The nanny and I were watching it a couple of nights ago in preparation for this.
Former SAG after president.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Carrie walked in halfway through the movie. She'd been working in town and she walked in and halfway through the movie and she's like, I remember none of this. I have no recollection of any of this. But she watched Mel Gibson for a few minutes and she said, my God, he's so in his body. To watch the way he moves on camera is just like...
It really is what he could do.
There's a scene where he's going out to the airport at the very end of the movie and he does a jog out to this sort of high stepping jog he does on the way out to the airport. And it is a marvel to see. It's too bad what happened to that guy. He was one of our great movie stars.
And I think even before he went publicly insane, he lost some thread of like the kinds of movies he should be making. He got too into the sort of Hollywood gigantic paycheck world.
But then also his revenge thrillers started getting weirder and darker in a way that...
He's an incredibly magnetic screen presence.
I mean,
especially in the 80s.
That is a very good quote from her. Yeah. And I often, almost always, the infrequent times that I now work as an actor, a thing I used to do a lot more. Now I'm a professional podcaster who sometimes acts. I think about a quote.
That's how I define myself.
I'll tell you, the first time you did Big Picture, after Hitmaker had set it up,
right? And
we were watching all that happen. We have a text thread called News and Deals that Alex Ross Perry is in, as well as the great filmmaker David Lowery, where we're all sharing BluRay announcements and deals. And we saw it happening, right? hitmaker saying, you should maybe have Tracy on. Do you know Tracy? Yes, I can connect it, this and that. And we go, Sean, you've recorded Tracy today. How was it? And he said, if that guy ever decided to start a movie podcast, we'd all be cooked.
Bumped right down the chart.
We're done.
That's very sweet.
It is our saving grace that he is so in demand in
kinda
other
busy.
areas.
Right.
He is so esteemed in so many other fields that he never will commit to a permanent desk, which is why you can be third chair, fourth desk, whatever. But I remember some interview that Carrie gave where she talked about being a full body actor, how she feels like she can always rely on her theatrical training to in on camera work, which is often so bizarre and nonsensical and can leave you in a position where things are changing so fast and you have so little bearing of where you are in the story that you can look kind of nonspecific in a scene, that she relies on her instincts and using her full body and everything. And anytime I'm like acting professionally again, I go like, am I doing full body actor shit?
Nice.
Or am I just thinking about my fucking head? You know?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So
she's
it
also
means a lot
form-
coming from her.
She's also a former athlete, and Mel clearly has some athletics in
It's
his
a big part
background
of it
as well, right?
It's a big part of it. Yeah. And I think, I mean, you're talking about like, the shame of how fully this man unraveled, but it is an interesting thing where like great actors are often people who have a really great dialogue ongoing with their own psychology and their own body and ability to take control of these things and own them and use them in a very deliberate way. But very often great movie stars are people who have some weird kind of unresolved thing within them. There is some inherent tension that makes them more unwatchable, makes them more watchable, even if it makes them less functional as a human being. And sometimes it is in a destructive way. Sometimes it's in a self-destructive way. Sometimes it's just oddness. You meet certain movie stars and you're like, how do you tie your shoes? But I on screen, I will buy anything you are selling. It is a fascinating thing. And, we were talking with Marie, now officially on the shit list, recently, who was saying that she had just rewatched Apollo 13. And she was like, how the fuck did Braveheart beat Apollo 13 for Best Picture? And we were like, you cannot overstate how powerful Mel Gibson was at that moment in time.
It's really true.
Yeah, he was.
Star Wars?
Yes. So you threw out one of the worst movie takes I've ever heard of all time.
Wait,
I say this after
that you don't like the trench run, right? That
you
I forgot about
specifically
this.
said we all agree that
I'm
the
furious.
ending of Star Wars sucks.
Give me your
right?
Pulitzer.
What I said was that the ending of Star Wars is the most boring climax to a great
crazy.
movie.
That's so
That's
crazy.
what I said.
Yeah,
It's
but
so,
you said it like we're all on the same page.
yeah, and you're
right?
saying it to boys there. I mean, boy and girl, but
Right.
and to like where I'm like, I watched the trench run. I would watch the trench run over. I would rewind my VHS. The DVHS degraded.
Fantasy
It
has
went
like the
away.
trench run tattooed on his body, like he's the fucking Prison Break character.
And the thing about the trench run to me is like, I love the climaxes of the other Star Wars movies where he had more money and he went more epic, but it's actually kind of small in this beautiful
Dramatically,
way.
it's
Yes.
like perfect. And even like,
so good.
I think these moments that are constantly ripped off from that sequence, but exploded and overstated, even down to just the return of Han Solo at the moment you think he's got no support, is I just think so gracefully and sort of succinctly done without making too much of a meal out of it.
All right. Let me tell you, millennial boys, a thing or two.
Do it. We're young ass whippersnappers.
I'm an old millennial. Almost 40.
You millennials are so monolithic in their movie opinions. Let me tell you, first of all, we never called it the fucking trench run. I don't
I'm
know
sure you
whoever
didn't.
came up with the trench run.
I
We
like going
called it
down a
the end
trench.
of Star Wars.
Sure,
Okay.
fair enough.
And by the way, the movie was called Star Wars.
I always call it Star Wars.
That I am with you.
We,
I,
in this house, we
I will
call
not
that movie Star
abide
Wars.
a New
Hope doesn't fucking exist.
That
film
really
is called
sounds
Star
like
Wars.
he had 5 minutes where they were like, hey, by the way, are you going to put like a title on the other one? And he's like, yeah, New Hope.
It's also
It was
so-
sort of a New Hope, right?
It's so funny for him to land on that title after he's promised he would make prequels someday, but hadn't figured out what the prequels were. And he was like, the one safe bet is this is probably a reset point.
Because
Call it A New Hope.
Because Star Wars isn't a good title.
Yeah, the fucking best
Clearly,
title of all
Star
time.
Wars isn't working.
It's so crazy how good a title Star Wars is.
So A New Hope, which is like, it sounds like a Faith Hill album.
Yes.
Isn't it crazy that Star Trek was a title before Star Wars?
Yeah, right.
You know, like Star Trek sounds more esoteric. And what is that? Why'd you pick that? No one had done Star Wars?
Now,
Like,
the actual trench run itself.
Right.
First of all, you know, it's stolen from a movie called The Dam Busters.
Yes. He would cut in footage of it, right?
Yes.
Dam Busters, damn good movie.
Yeah, very good movie.
DAM.
But we've not. Why is Luke piloting one of these goddamn?
Because he used to shoot Womp Rats in his T-14.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you really think that he has the know-how to get into this machine and drive into this crevasse?
It is really
of the
funny
Death Star.
That you imagine, like, this is a ragtag rebel group, and
Yes.
they're like, we've scraped together like 10 of these ships.
Yeah.
And he shows up and they're like, you're like 6'2". Yeah, you want to get in this thing?
They also, well, first of all, he's like 5'10".
Yeah,
Secondly, they got like 20 like lifer pilots, and all of them fucking flame out. And
Yeah.
Luke is the last
But
hope.
he's the Jedi. He's
New
the
Hope.
chosen one. Yeah,
Yeah, of
he's
course.
the, you know,
Of course.
But why are we supposed to care about Victor Buono, who suddenly shows up late in the movie in the ship? It's just like, where did he come from? Who's he's? And one of the big picture guys tells me that character has a name.
Porkins? We're talking about
We're
Porkins?
talking about the actor is actually William Hootkins. He does
It's
have a
actually
bit of a
really rude of you.
Victor Buono vibe. I saw William Hootkins play. I've told Griffin this, I'm sure. Maybe I admit. There's a play called Hitchcock Blonde, and he played Hitchcock.
Oh, right.
On the West End stage. He was fantastic.
With Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike.
Yeah.
That's right. And David Haig, and can't remember.
He's not still with us, right? Hootkins passed?
He must be pretty old if he is still with us.
He's in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's the guy.
Do you
who
assume
gives
that
Indiana Jones the
Porkins,
assignment.
that there
Yep.
was a scene
He died,
between
fairly young,
Porkins
actually.
and the mechanic who put Porkins in the thing, and the mechanic's name was Beans? Do you suppose there was a scene
Yes.
between Porkins and Beans?
Yes.
There better have been.
Tracy, and you are getting at why
It is-
Star Wars has the cultural stranglehold it does,
But
because
for
it
these-
opens up these questions,
But
these
like,
conversations.
Tracy.
We start thinking about Beans. You could write 10 Beans
Look, I'm
novels.
a kid. My dad introduces me to Star Wars, obviously, as a sort of a right? You know, I watch it, like, and then I'm obsessed with the trench run. And yeah, I only know it's like, yeah, there's the guy who gets shot immediately, you know, to prove that there will be deaths, like where these guys are going to blow up. Yeah, I'm all right. Boom. Right. And then you like start to read books about Star, or like you get, and you're like, the guy's name is fucking Porkins. Like they couldn't spend 5 minutes like figuring out a better name for this guy.
Yeah. This guy's got a squid head. What's his name? I don't know. He's a Mon Calamari. or some
Why
shit.
is Darth
Right.
Vader in a ship? Why have we?
Yes, he's in a little TIE fighter. What are you talking about?
Have we been led to believe that Darth Vader is good at flying in these ships?
So now what you're doing here is very interesting, because it's sort of what we did when we started the show, which is like, if you examine Star Wars without the further context, because like, of course, when you watch the prequels, it's like, oh, he was a crack
Everything's
pilot. That's it.
backfilled and explained.
But like, you're right that the whole thing with Darth Vader in general in Star Wars, where it's like, there's a fascist empire.
Mhm.
It is mostly run by British white men who are older and are kind of like, we should kill all of them. Who is this sadist robot who walks around among them with a cape? Everyone else is a fascist Nazi guy.
it's what's fascinating about
is Peter Cushing, right?
Darth Vader getting retroactively
Where they're like,
turned
what should
into
we
like
do
the
with the
greatest
Senate?
villain in cinema, where you're like, he was meant to be like the weird gimmicky Bond henchman.
Yes,
There's
he's
some big guy who's got an odd
But just, like,
energy.
who is like, I just wish someone would be like, where are you on the org chart, buddy? I'm a major. What are you? Why do you get
What
a
is
cape?
Darth?
Yeah, right. Like, there's an emperor, then there's some,
General.
fucking
I
generals.
understand all these
Like,
things.
Who are you? And so then it kind of makes sense that he's like, I'll get in my ship. Like, there's some ships. Like, let's go.
Right. Why is he getting a ship? Because it's like, that's the guy James Bond has to punch at the end, because it's not satisfying to watch him punch Dr. No. Dr.
Right.
No is like an intellectual.
Yes.
He's not going to punch.
Dr. No had a lot of good ideas out there
He's
on
got great
whatever
ideas.
island.
He's just trying to make America healthier.
I stand by that take.
Okay.
I've rewatched Star Wars, the original trilogy,
Uh-huh.
with my son. He's liked them. He's watched them 2-3 times.
But he has not been
venturing
gripped by them.
no,
Right.
but
And
he may be a little young for it. I mean, I saw them
Yeah.
all in the movie
Yeah.
theaters when they first came out.
But
I
you
was
were
the right
probably-
age.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. Well, the other thing with us,
8 is when I saw them, I think.
I
Yeah.
saw the re-release. I haven't seen them already, but I was there for the re-releases in '97,
Those are my first
and I was
time seeing
11,
them.
and that
Yep.
was perfect age.
It was everything.
Right.
I couldn't believe how bad Phantom Menace was. I couldn't believe it.
It's quite
Phantom Menace is tough because, yeah.
I had always been told it was bad.
Finish your sentence. because
well, it's bubbling with some interesting ideas and some bad ideas.
This podcast only exists because of our obsession with that film and how we are constantly wrestling with it.
How we would keep attacking it, being like, "Are we going to like it this time?"
And we're not
then we'd
wrestling
always
with,
be kind of like,
is this good or not, as much as what is going on here? And I contend it is the best of those three. So when it started, people were like, well, maybe he'll he's a little rusty. He'll regain his footing.
I contend it's the best of the three.
It's the best of the three now.
Wow.
I think the pod race sequence is wonderful. Which again, he's ripping off Ben-Hur, but like
it feels similar to the Trench Run, where he's taking a classical visual language of an epic cinema of past and applying it to future.
The thing that's happened with the prequels lately, the prequels come out, they were hits, obviously, but they are derided,
reviled.
Right? Yes. And now that the Disney legacy sequels have come out and had their own life cycle, now the fans are like, well, the prequels are interesting because they are interesting.
They are.
They're weird. George Lucas is a weirdo.
They are outsider art.
Right.
They are made by a lunatic who can fund his own films.
Right.
At the
and so George
level.
Lucas was like, I want to sort of, write about the fall of the Roman Empire, right? Like I want to write about this sort of decline.
How do fishes
But I also think there should be like a Jamaican
begin.
fish alien because kids watch it. You know what I mean? And like in the original movies, you can see Lucas being tempered and that there's a lot of interest, a lot of mature people around him as well. And the prequels, he's unfettered. So he's like, we'll have Jar Jar Binks. And no one at any point is like, hey, this fucking sucks. Like, we cannot do this.
That's part of the problem when you become as big as George Lucas.
100%.
Nobody can tell you.
Now everyone reveres
idea.
Lucas, and I revere him too because there's nothing like him. And God bless this thing. He did lots of interesting things. But like, I remember reading interviews with Mark Hamill at the time, like in the 90s, where he's like, he's the fucking Pope. Getting lunch with him is a day-long production. You can't have a conversation with him anymore. Like where it's just like a regular, like, hey, why are and like that's what and so they're interesting objects in that way. Cause like how often does that happen in Hollywood?
Never.
Literally
never.
So that's interesting. But are they like good movies?
No.
But you
fascinating text.
It sounds like your son watches a lot of goofy kaiju movies, which rock, but like they're silly too, right? Like it's like the right balance of silliness is something that can be hard to find.
Right. Like I say, the question is there a creature, and especially are the creatures fighting?
Not to spoil you, I did additionally get 2 kaiju action figures for your children.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. See, you think the big picture ever did this?
There you go. See, this is we treat our guests right, especially after we make them do a 3-hour plus episode. This has been far too long.
So that's a funky color Hedorah, but then this is, I think, a really skeleton Godzilla after he is atomized from the end of the 54 movie at the bottom.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Isn't that fucking cool?
Seen that. He has a bigger Hedorah, but he'll love. You can't have it. He just had a Gamera themed 8th birthday party. I got so many Gamera.
Son is so cool.
Like the other kids from 2nd grade walking into this being like,
has he converted other people? Like, or is his friends into Gamera?
Not at all.
No.
Right. They're all into like K-pop demon hunters or whatever.
Which he's never seen, doesn't know anything about.
Right.
He goes over to a friend's house and they watch. He has no idea what.
But he's not coming home being like, I must now watch K-pop demon hunters because everyone's talking about it at school or whatever. All. Right. Well, that's great. I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm right at the start of this with my kids, like, the sort of like the larger osmosis, and you watch. I have to say,
I didn't do a lot of conditioning to get him kaiju.
Right.
Crazy.
This isn't a thing where this isn't like when parents are like, my kid's favorite band is The Clash, and you're like, okay,
I had the Criterion box of the Godzilla, which has a big sort of comic book.
I know, I have it myself, of course. Yes,
he became interested in those visuals before he could even read and page through that. And he went through that over and over. He memorized I taught him the titles. He memorized all the titles. Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, if you like this so much, maybe we should watch one of the movies. And I put on one of the movies. That's it.
Immediately.
That's it.
Because they are weird.
Yeah.
Like they're weird to watch. They're not like movies now. Like
your daughter, you haven't shown them
No,
to her.
my daughter is quite fearful. She loves movies.
Yeah.
I mean, and she loves Bowser, who is something of a kaiju.
I got her the big Godzilla toy, which she alternates between being scared.
Well,
and
now
fascinated by.
the big
she's good.
Godzilla toy
Okay.
is just a favored friend in our house.
Great.
Griffin got her a Godzilla that's like large.
But a big
How old again?
black
My
and white
daughter's
54.
five. But he got her this a couple years ago, and initially, sometimes the Godzilla had to be like put away.
Yeah, right.
Like
Right.
it was a little.
And then Ben had to act like Godzilla was eating his finger, and that killed.
That bit was killing.
She played like fucking deaf comedy.
She needs
jam.
you
It
guys
was
to come
just-
over again. She's been asking. to
Hey!
see you guys.
wow.
Anytime.
But she hasn't seen Godzilla yet. No.
I got one.
She doesn't like when Ursula gets big in The Little Mermaid. Like
Yes.
that like freaks her out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's also kaiju adjacent. So I've been like, maybe
But I also think
Large isn't
don't
your
start
speed
with
right now.
54. Start
No.
with the movies where Godzilla's the good monster and he fights the bad monsters.
yes, right.
I
know.
think maybe the first movie he watched was Destroy All Monsters.
That I would say is the best starting point. Because then you also have the Minya in that one, right?
The witch?
And I was going to say the little baby Godzilla.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Manila. Yeah.
Manila, yes.
Oh, I know that one. That one's cute.
He's cute. He's a good entry.
I'm
point.
not even that deep on Godzilla. I like Mothra. Mothra's cool.
All right, so I want to shout
I like
out.
Rodan.
I looked up our Indonesian listenership. The last 12 months
Mhm.
got about like 1,500 downloads.
Really?
So there's some folks out there. So we just want to shout out to our
Absolutely.
listeners.
Very nice. Hello, Jakarta.
What's up? Would love to visit.
Sure.
It just looks like I was like looking at Google
It's
Maps.
quite stunning. Yeah.
If you're one of
looking up
those
some
1,500,
photos.
let us know what the local comedy theater breakdown is. If there's a good opportunity for us to do a live show.
Yeah, please do.
Yes. Tracy, we've taken far too much of your time.
Thank you so
I
much. for
can't
being
believe
here.
this podcast is going to be 4 hours long. You're going to have to find some.
It's not. It's gonna be.
some
It's,
guts.
It'll be 3:15, which unfortunately may not even crack top 5
it will
longest.
not.
Yeah.
It won't crack the 10. I don't think.
Jesus.
The audience weirdly just demands longer and longer. I don't know why.
You're a king amongst men.
You are.
You are the boss bitch.
You guys are sweet.
Have anything to plug? Is there? Bug
I'm
just
not-
ended its run on Broadway.
Yeah, not plugging nothing.
Ben went to
Alright,
see
fine.
Bug. Did you know?
I loved it.
Oh, thanks, Ben.
I think it really captures the paranoia of being on drugs.
Thanks.
Bug rocks.
No, nothing to plug. As I've said before, this is my job.
Man.
The acting and the playwriting is hobby.
That's just
This
right.
is my
That's-
job.
You're plugging physical media and the
you go.
value of owning the films you
you've
care
plugged
about
it beautifully
in a
in the
tangible
past,
form.
but you guys, yes, Tracy has spoken very well of why it's great to own a disc. But our fans already know that.
Yeah.
I would say.
I will tell you, as someone with a unfortunately an overwhelming amount of anxiety at most times in my life, I'm constantly trying to find different pieces of media that can function as a balm for me. Things that, for whatever reason, physiologically just calm me down, slower the heart rate, slow down the heart rate.
We need to.
Long form interviews with you have started really doing the trick.
You got a great voice.
Very nice.
You got a great voice. But thank you for being here. We will absolutely force you to come back again. We will hold you to your openness. And thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Tune in next week for Witness with Amanda Dobbins, Dobb Mob for life. Weir's doing it. He's crossing the ocean. He's coming over to Hollywood.
Yep. This episode, this series has Dobbins, it has Sean, it has Hitmaker. It's got all the big boys.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
And as always.
And as always, I have to ask because I almost bought it. Have you seen / do you own / has your son seen the Roland Emmerich Godzilla?
No.
And is that a forceful blocking him from that experience?
No. In fact, when he turned 8, I said to him, you can now watch any Godzilla movie. If Godzilla's in it, you can watch it.
Wow.
That had not been the case before he was 8.
That's like the best version of like the birds and the bees talk. You're old enough to start.
I was like, he was
understanding
limited
the world.
for a long time to the Showa era. And
Yeah.
then I expanded to the Heisei era, but
Yeah.
now he can watch any Godzilla movie.
Wow. If he ever watches it, please let us know. Because I think he will hate it. But I was curious. I didn't want to infect your collection with the disc. I don't think it's a good film. Much like Phantom Menace, I've always been fascinated by how broken it is. But I saw it about his age and really struggled with why it didn't make me happy.
Blank Check with Griffin and David is hosted by Griffin Newman and David Sims. Our executive producer is me, Ben Hosley. Our creative producer is Marie Barty Salinas, and our associate producer is AJ McKeon. This show is mixed and edited by AJ McKeon and Alan Smithy. Research by JJ Birch. Our theme song is by Lane Montgomery and the Great American Novel, with additional music by Alex Mitchell. Artwork by Joe Bowen, Ollie Moss, and Pat Reynolds. Our production assistant is Minnick. Special thanks to David Cho, Jordan Fish, and Nate Patterson for their production help. Head over to blankcheckpod.com for links to all of the real nerdy shit. Join our Patreon, Blank Check Special Features, for exclusive franchise commentaries and bonus episodes. Follow us on social at Blank Check Pod. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, Checkbook, on Substack. This podcast is created and produced by Blank Check Productions.